Define yourself. Will you impact the future? Will you lead the pack? Will you engage the world? Will you find the cure? Will you be the hope? So, will you? Come see how St. John students are changing the world every day. Visit us today.
At Villanova, we believe in community and in ourselves. We create, adapt, discover. And when confronted by uncertainty, we don't stand idly by. We never have. We get involved, lead by example, even when things are tough. Especially when things are tough. We take action because Villanovans are like that. Stronger together. Ignite change. Go no.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the EGF. It is season 2. It is week 13. I'm your host, Soy, and joining me is South Beach. South Beach, how's it going?
Doing good, Soy. Good to be here. I can't wait to see this matchup between Villanova and Niagara. You got some, they're not really up the top of the rankings right now, but honestly, they are some pretty competitive schools about to go at it here in some Rocket League. I can't wait to jump into this action.
Yeah, should be a fun battle. As you said, both of these teams looking to try and claw their way back into the standings. Only one game separates these two in the overall standings, although despite that, they are in separate conferences, so not much in terms of seeding on the line here. However, this is a bigger game for Niagara. If you look into those standings a bit more, a win here could tie them for the middle of the pack in that MAC conference, considering how Canisius has struggled as of late and how Siena is still sitting at that 3-win mark. So this is bound to be a good one. As you said, I'm excited. Unfortunately, we had a game postponed, so we're jumping right in here to match number 2. But, you know, as you said, this one should be good.
Yes, I'm excited. And like you said, they are fighting for some positioning in the MAC conference right now. I believe they are number 6. So a win for them against Villanova will improve their rankings. But right now, we're up to kickoff, so let's get right to it.
Yeah, and there's a quick redirect, and Riles is going to get a first goal here, and that is a quick start for Villanova.
Man, just like right off the kickoff, Riles had it right, a perfect angle, probably not quite trying to go for the goal, but someone on Niagara couldn't quite tell who it was, just accidentally bumped it right in there for him. Little unfortunate start for Niagara, and that was almost very unfortunate after that second shot. Great save.
Yeah, Villanova in the orange, Niagara in the blue. Zen trying to recenter this one. It was Aust who actually redirected that ball into the net on Niagara's side. And Aust is the player to watch if you're the Purple Eagles. Ooh, is Pablo nearly putting one in the far post there. But when Aust gets going, this Purple Eagles team gets hard to stop. But over top of 2 is Zen, and Villanova gets their second.
Yeah, Zen's one of the good defenders for Villanova on that team, but right now we just saw his offensive presence already showing off, giving him the second shot for Villanova. Pretty good angle right there, had the right amount of speed, just all around pretty good shot from Zen.
Villanova off to a hot start here, and so they'll get this clear out of the corner, forcing Aust back. Trying to buy some time here in his own corner. Riles is going to put one on net, and no one's home. Make it 3-0.
Oh my goodness, not even a first minute yet. And geez, that's Riles' second score of the game. Really just a great read, recognizing where the ball was and then just flying up for it instead of just straight up charging it. Not using a lot of speed directly towards the ball, just going up in the air, kind of an aerial shot right there. That was just a great shot from Riles, man, and if you're Niagara, that defense needs to show up somewhere.
This has kind of been the struggle. I mean, teams in the Big East right now, ooh, is Horsey's going to be able to sneak that one in. The deflection off the post hits the defender and finds its way into the net. And we're just 1 minute in, basically, and it's 4-0.
Yeah, just, that looks like past the schnitzel for Niagara, trying to get that save, just wasn't there on time, and Villanova's just cruising. Not much to say on that shot there.
Again, just barely a minute into the game as Pablo not going to be able to find a touch on that one, and Riles will get another one.
My goodness, I have not been casting in the EGF very long, but this is the first to see that, like, you know, this is my first time watching 5 scores in less than 2 minutes in this series, or in any series really of the split. Just, man, I don't know where Niagara's defense is showing up right now. They're trying to focus a lot on offense, I believe, but you just got to have someone watch the goal and just make sure that ball doesn't get anywhere in their area. Because, like, right now you see there's nobody covering there. There's someone kind of in the middle of the field, but you want somebody, if you're down that much, you definitely want to be aggressive, sure, but you want to play some defense, because honestly, if Villanova gets a good hit, a good clear shot all the way to the other side, it's going to be a quick work for them to score again.
That was nearly a bump play right in front of the box to get a goal there for Niagara. Could have been big, but the defense holds for now. Pablo trying to recenter this one. Ost is there, crossbar and out. Could not put it on net, and Riles will get the clear going for the air dribble, but he's bumped by Ost. The net is open. The pass to Schnitzel will get this one out of the blue zone for now. Ost will now try and buy some time in this blue corner as Zen getting aggressive, and Horsey is there to respond to this one off the backboard. And Villanova will just kind of lay off the pressure here.
Exactly. I think already they're starting to just play keep away, but they still want to get a few other goals, as you can tell. Horsey tried to make that shot, but you know, you got a 5-0 lead. You're sitting pretty comfortable. You feel pretty confident you're going to take a win. Now it's going to be 6-0, and he knows that he's a Horsey. What an awesome name that is, by the way. But anyway, yeah, they're just trying to play keep away, or if they can score enough points to just be like, okay, hey, there's no way they're going to come back. Let's just move on to the next one.
And that's the danger, too. I mean, you saw in that last goal, Horsey using that sidewall to try and clear. Not a bad idea, but the problem is if you're going to use that sidewall, that ball's got to get downfield and fast, and just not a whole lot of power behind it. The bump coming through, too, so Ost could not follow up the play. Just allowed that shot to come through, and still with 2 minutes remaining at 6-0, Niagara just kind of trying to find some momentum here towards the end of this game, as Pablo's shot nearly going to find the net pass to Schnitzel to clean up the play. Niagara's on the board.
That was a nice lob from Pablo, that was, and then Schnitzel just over there to just clean it up, splitting 2 defenders. Good work for Niagara, finally getting on the board. Now, if they can, I don't know, maybe five goals in less than 2 minutes. I mean, Villanova can do it. Let's see if they can do it.
Certainly not improbable, or certainly not impossible, I should say, but improbable, probably the right adjective. The way Villanova has kept that pressure on. Zen going for a demo. Riles has to hustle back to make this save, leaving it for Horsey in the corner. Pass to Schnitzel with a tough play to make. Riles is just going to push this one forward. Pablo going to be able to play this one to the sideboards, and Zen keeping that pressure on. Schnitzel gets it over top of one, and the situation resets, but again, it just feels like Niagara's chances, just a couple of these off-angle shots as Riles with a tough save to make there. Niagara's offense finally starting to wake up here in the second half.
Yeah, something to notice with Villanova, both on offense and defense, they're sticking to aerials. They stick with air game, you know. Most of the scores they've made already have just been from the air, not just from the ground. And as well as them just like controlling the ball, passing the ball in the air, Zen and Riles do a really, really good job with that, as well as Horsey. Horsey's been doing really good at that as well. But then also going back earlier, there's an earlier save from Riles. He, on defense, he did that in the air. So this team's really good sticking to the air and controlling the ball through the air. So they're going to be sticking to that game more instead of just on the ground.
Certainly a level of technical prowess being displayed by the Wildcats as Horsey up for this one with 20 seconds to go. Gets the flip reset. Pablo able to make the stop there and deny the Brazil for now. And Pablo nearly able to drive this one straight into the net, but unfortunately for him, unable to score, and that will just about do it here for game number 1. Villanova, it was all them, all early, and Niagara got one late, but at at the end of the day, the Wildcats offense came here to play.
Exactly. I mean, just 5 scores, like in the first 2 minutes of the game. You just gotta know that was just, you just had a feeling, okay, this is definitely over pretty soon. But honestly, we saw a little bit more flashes from Niagara. The defense stepped up a lot more for them, and they just need to keep that up again. So if you're Niagara, you gotta have someone be playing in your territory. You don't have to necessarily just be at the goal all the time. Just make sure that, you know, whenever the time to be aggressive on offense, you're in a good spot to, like, just in case something goes wrong and the ball clears to their direction, you can be like, okay, I'm gonna head on back, and I don't have to rush super fast, waste all my boost. So you're there and get the ball cleared out. That was kind of a mistake, because really all Villanova had to do was just clear the ball, and then they had a wide open shot. No one was there on defense. They just had to speed up, fly through the air, and just score for them.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I think the Purple Eagles defense of Niagara just, it wasn't a fast enough rotation, and so it left a couple open nets. And then we did see a couple of attempts at aerial saves. Pablo in particular had 1 or 2 whiffs. But I mean, I do think that Niagara is a team that we've seen kind of grow and progress as the season has gone on. And so they kind of feel like the underdogs heading into this match, because everyone in the Big East has had their pop-off moments. Even St. John's, who has 1 win, has had, you know, moments where this offense, or their offenses have just, you know, excelled against some of these teams. And so for Niagara, this team where Ost has felt like, you know, a one-man show at some points, it's been a growing process for them. And Pablo, there's a lot of trust in players like Ost has put in players like Pablo and Schnitzel to keep these games close. And as we get into game number 2 here, pretty even off the start. We'll see how this one shakes out, as Passion Schnitzel trying to get this one forward. Horsey is there to respond, getting this over top of Ost. Schnitzel now using the sideboards to his advantage. Riles is going to center that one. Pablo backflips. Horsey is there, looking for the top corner, but Ost with a great save.
Pablo and Ost working it on the defense, making a nice little goal line stand against Villanova right here. But here comes Riles. This is probably in. Yep. There we go. So Riles and Villanova get it on the board first. That was just a pretty good ricochet for him. Pass to himself off the backboard. Get nice and cleared, and then just take it to the hole. So Villanova once again up 1-0, but already a better defensive present work for Niagara.
Yeah, Riles was able to get a good touch off the wall there over top of 2 defenders. And again, positioning for this Niagara team just slightly off, just not quite in the right place. And that's all Villanova has needed so far. Niagara now looking to counterattack. Look at Austin, the redirect. Horsey is back and able to respond, and now he's quickly up for the air dribble. Austin looking for Riles. Pablo up to answer the call for that one. And now Passionate Schnitzel heading the other way.
I think that's 3 saves for Pablo now. He's just been all over the defensive front. That's insane. He's definitely stepped it up for the Niagara team.
Yeah, Pablo absolutely is a look-to player for Niagara. If Austin is getting this offense going, Pablo has been the cleanup crew sometimes for the Purple Eagles. As this back pass goes to Riles, he'll punch this one forward. Riles again trying to find another touch on it. Pablo waits this out, and Ost with an unfortunate touch again. A second own goal this series from him.
Ah, man, he was just trying to make a pretty good defensive play, trying to, like, swerve it around. It was just too unfortunate. I think he was trying to hit it off the backboard so that the ball would try to go the other way. Just had the angle towards the goal. Very unfortunate situation now if you're in Niagara.
And on top of that, I just don't think he was expecting Riles to get that next touch and put that ball back and centered. And Riles here off the corner wall will find a third.
That was just sneaky. I mean, he definitely benefited from all the demolitions that happened right over there. And then where else would he score it? Just right up in the air, up in the right corner. Just dominating performance Riles is putting on right now. Just a whole bunch of goals. he's got all 3 for this game, and I'm not sure. I lost count how many goals he had that last game.
A hat trick for Riles here in game 2. He is certainly feeling himself along with the rest of this Villanova offense, but a quick dish to center here will be captured by Zen. Now off the wall, looking for the flip reset possibly. Centers this one, but Pablo, again, another save for him. He has been the man on the goal line, keeping this offense at bay as best he can, but now Horsey possibly on a fast break. No, he's going to dish this one to the blue corner as Pasha Schnitzel got back in time.
Exactly, and now we're seeing Horsey trying to get in on the action a little bit, just trying to control the ball a little bit well. It's unfortunate for him as Niagara just kind of swooped in and just steal the thunder a little bit right there. So now, Riles has been doing all the work basically for Villanova in this game, but now it looks like he's backed off a little bit as we saw Horsey just kind of get into the goal a little bit, trying to have his teams kind of contribute a little bit. But now they're starting to play a little bit of this keep away, but if they get an opportunity to score, they're going to take it.
Also with a hard backboard touch there, trying to relieve some pressure here. Horsey centering this one, but past the Schnitzel there to respond. Now Ost looking for the deep clear. Going for the redirect with Schnitzel, and this will just end up leaving it for Ost and cleared over top. Pablo going to get a touch here. Schnitzel to the blue corner. Just over a minute remaining here in game number 2. Still nothing on the board for the Purple Eagles, but 3 courtesy of Riles for Villanova, and that's a whiff from Pablo, but luckily no one there to follow up. And it just feels like the control right now is in favor of Villanova. You look at all these air dribble attempts that have came through, as that shot will be saved by Riles, but it just feels like we haven't seen much time of possession out of the Purple Eagles.
Exactly, you know, just not a lot of offensive possessions. They've been playing on the defensive side all game long. And, you know, we see Pablo and Ost, they both have a combined 5 saves total against Villanova. However, Villanova still has 3 shots over them. But right now they need to try to get an answer on offense. They probably, just from the last game, giving up 6 or 7 shots, 6 or 7 goals that last game. They definitely wanted an answer on defense. Now that you got to... problem is you also got to play offense. You also got to score. You're not going to win by not scoring at all.
Zen over top of 1, and that will do it here for game number 2. Not likely to get another goal here, as that demo will end game number 2. A solid 3-0 victory. Riles really the standout player here with that hat trick, and I mean, I feel like the shot total says it all this game. You've got 10 shots for the side of Villanova, 6 courtesy of Riles, and for Niagara, only 2 through those 5 minutes.
Exactly, yeah. Riles was 3 for 6 on those shots right there. He was just relentless for Villanova, just hat-tricking it, as you said, through the air, just like that's their specialty, just hat trick through the air all the time, ball control, movement everywhere. And then he was also, at the very end, it looked like he was trying to get Horsey and Zen involved there on that offense a little bit, trying to help them score. So great team effort from Riles trying to get his other teammates involved. But Niagara, on the other hand, they only took, I'm pulling up like the stats from this last game, they only put 2 shots total in that entire game. One from Austin, one from Pablo, who have been relentless on defense with 6 saves combined. Yeah, 6 saves combined, which, you know, like I said before, you want to switch to offense a little bit at times. You know, I think they were just a little bit shook at that last game where they gave up 6 shots, so they wanted to focus all on defense. So now you got to get into offense, and then you can get some scores up and then feel better about yourselves.
We have seen some what starts as some good opportunities for the Purple Eagles, especially in transition. You know, once they get a save, they immediately can send a player downfield and try and break out into offense. The problem is those breakout passes just have not led to many shots on goal. So we'll have to see if that can come through here. Maybe they can catch the Wildcats in transition, but it appears like it will be more or less the same here as Horsey going for the dribble. Actually gets bumped off this, so he'll rotate back. And all 3 players in Niagara kind of fumbling around in this corner. Pablo not going to be able to get a touch. Neither will Austin. They end up bumping their own team, so Riles will go back for another air dribble attempt here. up the wall. Holds back, but Ost immediately up to answer that play. And Horsey now taking the mid boost. Bails off of one and wins the challenge over Pablo. Ost has to answer this. Dropped back down mid.
Now we're
Horsey
seeing a
now.
lot of aerial game from Niagara now. They're trying to challenge Villanova in disguise for this one, which is going to be kind of a dangerous game as Horsey there on the ground taking that shot. Actually, never mind. He was up in the air, just kind of good dribble movement, and then just the ball actually just narrowly hit the edge of the goalpost and then just dribbled in. I thought he was on the ground. I didn't see him in there.
Another display of technical prowess as that air dribble looked clean. But unfortunately, no one back here on defense. Riles finds another 2-0.
There you go. Now, don't let up on defense if you're Niagara. You got to still keep somebody up there. And it looked like someone was trying to get up in the air, trying to make that steal, break up Riles' ball control up in the air. Just unfortunate that he couldn't get it up in there. So you might want to just stick to the goal. And then whenever the ball comes to the goal, just whack it away. And then you can even, which is even good for you because you can rack up some save points.
Ost got this one back in front. What an angle, and Ost on the backflip answers the call.
That was a tremendous angle from him. Just hit it off the backboard and then just turn his back behind him instead of going full break, turn around, and then just shoot. But that was just a great movement, and now they're just down 1 point. They can try to possibly turn this around now.
What an angle from Ost, and Horsey up for this one early, going for the pinch off the wall. Pablo is there, off the hood of his car though, so Ost will have to play this. And Zen is there to answer. Riles going for a slow angle, or a slim angle, I should say, and not able to find it. Pablo on the dribble here, but not a whole lot of boost to work with. Trying to find Schnitzel. The pass actually goes over top of Ost. Can Schnitzel get back? He does, off the backboard, and is able to clear it. Good defense from the Purple Eagles. Yeah,
and again, the aerial attack they're starting to switch to is starting to come live here. Now we get Schnitzel on the defensive side coming in. We haven't really heard much from him in the last game, and now he's trying to start to make his presence known for the Villanova Wildcats, the boys in orange.
This ball finds its way to the orange half. There is a shot from Schnitzel, but he could not put it on net. Unfortunately, the net was open. A chance missed there by the Eagles, and Wildcats not having the easiest time transitioning here.
Yeah, I think Niagara's really starting to put up the pressure, and there they have a wide open shot. Ooh, Pablo. Usually on the defensive side, now he's come alive on offense. From the lob to Schnitzel, and then he just had the perfect angle. Man, that just came out of nowhere. Now it's a tie game.
I have to look back on the replay of that. I think Schnitzel, after he makes that pass off the sideboards, I think he gets the bump onto Zen, I believe. And that really opened up the gates for Pablo. As now the pass mid, Riles able to make the stop. Pablo chipping it up off the backboard, but no one there. Ost has to answer this play, buying his team some time. No boost to follow this one off the backboard. Pablo too far forward. Zen cannot find an open net here, and Riles now working his way off the corner. Going for the challenge off the ceiling, missed the ball. Zen is there off the post. Another opportunity missed. Horsey is just going to try and punch this one wide, but Ost is there. Maybe a chance for a counterattack, but Riles will control this one out. Schnitzel actually wins the challenge, though, and keeps the pressure on. Horsey now gets this one back to mid. Pablo off the wall. Schnitzel down. Where's the third man? Ost cannot win the challenge against Zen. That was a golden opportunity.
Man, and you know that earlier clear from Pablo was super, super crucial, but now they didn't capitalize on that challenge movement they had. Now they got to stick up on defense, but come on, Niagara, you can score one more. Watch out for the guys behind you. Make sure you get out of defense and transition back to offense so you can get some points. Keep yourselves alive, guys. Come on.
1 minute remaining here in game number 3. Zen cannot win this challenge against Pastor Schnitzel. Horsey now trying to get this one back and centered over top of Pablo. Wide of the net, though.
Ooh.
Players still diving at it. Ost can't win his challenge. Pablo and Riles up for this one. Rolls its way back down. Horsey off the backboard, trying to find Zen in mid. Actually, Schnitzel's going to get the clear here. Zen with a dangerous play to make here, trying to buy some time. Loses that challenge, centers it across. Riles is there, chip over top, going for the backboard, double tap, wide of the net. Someone, I think, got a piece of that one and deflected it wide.
Man, that was kind of a dangerous challenge. All three of Niagara players made, just all of them just flying to that ball. And now, we might get overtime here unless we get a miracle set goal right here.
Challenge down the boards, entering 0 time soon. If the ball touches the ground, we'll be headed to overtime, and we are. Game number 3. Niagara needs the win here to extend the set.
Yes, so just only one score they need for them. And now try to just not be in defense all the time. Just try to get some pressure on offense. This is very, very crucial for them, obviously, trying to keep their hopes alive. Oh, poor Schnitzel. Just didn't have quite the angle. Villanova just was there to disrupt it. Now their defense needs to transition right here.
Dangerous clear across. Zen over top, and he's got it. That's the game. That's the set. Villanova with the sweep.
My goodness. Everyone was focused on Riles there. They just had nobody on Zen. Zen, the unsung hero for Villanova. Everyone for Villanova now just scored for them. Just an incredible performance from Villanova from start to finish, capitalizing them on their win. Niagara just came alive at the very, very end, at the very final game, but it was just a little too late for them, not getting enough scores on time. They had some chances, and they just didn't quite get them on time to try to get the scores they needed. But overall, great win for Villanova, and now they're improved in the ranks, getting their 4th win of the season, I believe.
Yeah, that is a solid 4th win after a split that has not been kind to Villanova so far. I believe they've only gotten one win since the start of the spring split. But, I mean, regardless, this was a dominant victory for them. I mean, the amount of time of possession, I think, if there was a time of possession statistic in Rocket League, Villanova would have blew it out of the park here. I mean, you talked about it too. Just look at the multiple shots on goal. Niagara's defense could only hold for so long. But that is going to be it for match number 1. We got an interview coming up after the break. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the EGF. We've got Riles on the line here for the post-game interview. Riles, congrats on your win.
Thank you, guys. It was a pretty good win. I think we played pretty well today. I think we're really happy with how we played.
Exactly.
How you guys doing today?
Riles, doing good, man. Thank you. Thank you for being with us today. First off, one thing I just want to ask you guys, just take us through that very first match where you guys scored, I think it was 7 goals, 5 of them within 2 minutes. You guys instantly clicked within just a minute or two, and I don't think Niagara just had an answer. So just what worked for you guys just popping off like that?
Well, we were warming up about an hour and a half before we started, and we were playing really well together in the comp lobbies. And then when we got into the game, we just tried to play like they were the best team in the world. And I think everything just worked out well. We were passing, our shots were on, and yeah, I think the warm up was the biggest thing. We just prepared for the worst.
Excellent.
Yeah,
and
you guys
also one
have,
thing. Go ahead, Soy.
Sorry about that.
Go ahead.
No, I didn't mean to cut you off. No, I was going to ask you. This is your first win of the spring split for you guys. How you guys feeling? About how the season has played out so far.
We haven't been doing as well as I think we could have been, but also, I think teams that we did play were really, really difficult, really good, and I think we just have to keep practicing as much as we can, and I think we have a bright future ahead.
Also, you guys are really, really good at the air game, obviously just controlling the ball through the air, making shots through the air, and then even defending. You had that great save in the goal, and that was just mid-air. So How do you guys practice on making those aerial shots? Because that's definitely one of the most complicated things to do in Rocket League, if I do say so myself.
Well, for me personally, I just do a bunch of training packs with like the air dribble off the wall and stuff like that, and just to get comfortable like moving around the air. And then when all three of us are together, we would go into certain matches and be like, we're gonna practice aerials this game, and then we would like try to practice passing in the air, shooting in the air. So it really just depends like what we want to practice during the game, but a lot of the times we just practice passing to each other like in the air and then shooting. So just a lot of practice.
You guys, for your upcoming schedule after today's or next week, you guys get the Titans of Delaware, Quinnipiac, and Niagara. How you guys feeling about the rest of your schedule?
I think it's a lot to look forward to. I think we're excited that we even have some games to play. So we're just trying to keep practicing, and hopefully we make out.
Awesome. That's all from me. So do you have anything else?
I think that is going to wrap it up for both of us. Thank you again, Riles, for joining the call, and congrats on your victory this week. We'll see you next week against Delaware.
Thank you guys so much.
All right, we'll be back with more Rocket League action after the break. Stick around. We've got up next. It is William and actually, no, I'm looking at the wrong schedule. My bad. It is Marist versus North Dakota. Should be a fun matchup.
Very critical match for Marist. They're coming off a 4 weeks in a row. They've lost matches. They have not won a game since, let me do caster math really quickly, week like 8. Oh my goodness, week 9. That's just not boding very well for them. However, they're going up against a middle of the table University of North Dakota team. So this is probably a really great opportunity for them to bounce back. I noticed, actually, I am very biased against towards the University of Connecticut, graduated from there, and noticed that UConn beat Marist. So, not to toot like the Big East horn a little bit, but Taco, there's some signs, but Marist, formidable squad. They're one of my favorites here in the MAC conference. So, I only expect good results from this squad. Uh-oh. That's okay. Let's talk a little bit. Let's talk a bit about North Dakota. They came off of a good win against William and Mary last week. I didn't see any big streaks, but again, they're sitting at 4-8 right now, middle of the pack team, trying to get some last minute or almost last minute wins in before the end of the spring season. Though, I mean, this whole season's been going on for quite a bit of time, so. Still a lot of open opportunities. Marist, they have to bounce back. They were 6-1 4 weeks ago. Now they're 6-5. They got to turn this around.
And hopefully they will be able to do so. Hopefully they will be able to do this within this matchup. So we're going to be starting right now with home and also very interesting. EGF Rocket League, really a lot like any Rocket League. I find the inconsistencies in the scene aren't necessarily due to, I would say, the players being inconsistent as much as it really just is the nature of this game. It's so crucial that you're consistent and you're making sure you're minimizing mistakes. And I feel like at any given point, any team can really win any given series. Being on paper doesn't really mean much, it seems like.
I mean, that's my favorite part about the collegiate scene, too. It's so fluid, and, rosters change all the time. You can't expect the same team to come out for every season. So the teams that are able to adapt to these changes, wow! That was a laser beam out of the center. Here comes Toads! Oh, Taco, that could have been a fantastic opportunity.
Certainly so, and they almost got that redirect, but they will have to somewhat regather themselves as they're trying to play the slow ball. Red Rocket actually wide open shot for Cannonball and a demo on the back post, but it's no the offensive player.
Oh my
Great
goodness.
save on the goal line from Cypher, and yet another chance from Marist turned away there. And so, well done, able to defend their net well in these early moments.
Yeah, goodness gracious, that bar down should have been in, and someone should have been there just a split second faster, but the score remains tied at 0. We're still waiting to see who's going to strike first.
Now we have the Geeks into the corner as a nice ball held up to just leave it, and Tones reads that all the way. Fantastic aerial reaching up there. Maris playing fantastic defense, although offense has been a little short at times. Red Rocket showing the defense short as well, 1-0.
And the defense just baited out of every position here. Look at this from Cannonball. And Cypher just messing around in the front of the goal, going in circles. That's not what you want to see. You want to see someone back post position, waiting for that ball to cross, recognizing it's coming in, and then hitting it away. That's just basic Rocket League, and unfortunately just dissolved right there.
I absolutely love that touch leading into that pass. Not opting for a shot, but instead just a brief little lob over and caused a lot of chaos, just like that last pass. But Tones is able to bring it out into midfield with Cypher on the follow, but another kind of a giveaway. I think Marist has to kind of warm up into this play because they are missing some crucial balls. Right here, for example, Geeks tried to find Cannonball, but no contact on the offensive end either. They're gonna have to go back to the drawing board as another ball goes into the Marist corner. So it's a brief touch across the middle. Shane try and chase this one down, but what are you seeing, or rather, what are you not seeing from Marist right now that's kind of forcing them back into their half here as we reach halftime, game one?
I mean, they're playing very passively, and their clears are just going straight into the hands of North Dakota. Again, this is a very interesting scenario for this Marist squad, because when I've seen them play, especially last season, this is a team that was always applying so much pressure. You see Cypher trying to dribble out of the back, and Shane with that touch right there, it's just not productive. It's not going to a teammate, and it's just giving it back to North Dakota, and they're just going to continue increasing this offensive pressure. You see Cannonball here. You can have a free shot on net almost. It's going to beat out 2 defenders, Taco. Oh, if you're Marist, you can't allow that to happen.
And speaking of giveaways, though, Red Rocket gives it straight down into Tones, but just doesn't have the momentum to be able to get that pass to Shane.
No.
Use the backboarder, more notably the crossbar, very close to an own goal, but they'll get away with it. Still 90 seconds and plenty of time for Marist to do something with it, but like you said, they really have to start finding some substance on these hits, and North Dakota more than content to just keep knocking the ball to the corner, getting those interceptions, and letting the clock run down.
Oh yeah, they're just wasting time, and again, maybe it's just an off game. It's game 1, best of 5. Could last quite a bit of time, but maybe Toads can find someone. Okay, I understand wanting to go for that angle, but I was really looking for a pass there. I could have led to a really quick 1-2 shot, but Tones got out of position. Rocket able to score this.
Tones might have been anticipating something a little bit more subtle, but Red Rocket just goes straight for the shot. No fear, shooting it right at the defender. Tones caught a little bit dead-footed, and that will extend the lead for North Dakota. A brutal thing to show, as we have seen Marist take some forays into the offensive half, but it really just seems like at this point North Dakota is fine with just pouring on pressure, and whatever goals may fall, they'll take them. But right there, the best pass we've seen in a while doesn't go requited, but it doesn't matter. Shane just passes to himself.
This is great. You love to see it, and the defense was totally anticipating that shot from Tones, so they were probably just a little taken back from that and just did not recognize the threat. Now, down by a goal, less than a minute left. This could be the spark that Marist is looking for. Oh, but they still need to convince me otherwise.
This Red Rocket will send one a little bit past the far post. Geeks is going to play all the way down for this one, but a good interception coming out, forced Red Rocket out. Ball in the middle, Tones sets up a shot off the bounce. Not going to be enough to get past Cannonball. Another ball into the corner for Cypher. Now to chase for Marist. Cannonball, high lob. Shane has to get up for this one. Red Rocket sends him to the Shadow Realm, but doesn't get the shot off entirely.
Oh,
Save by
no!
Maris, but unfortunately, Tones just doesn't have the angle, and that's a heartbreaker of a third goal.
And this is so tough because Tones, I think, was in perfect position to otherwise go up for the ball, but then elected to reverse. And when you reverse, you just mess with your entire momentum. And it makes it really awkward to try to go up and make that save, and it kind of just led into itself there. 10 seconds to go. Now Maris need to have some answers going into game 2, Taco, because if they keep playing like this, North Dakota might see an easy 3-0.
It was encouraging to see that they were moving forward a little bit cleaner, Maris. But the thing that I wasn't necessarily seeing as much is on defense. It did seem a little bit tentative. I believe that you said passive earlier, and I think that's also a very good descriptor. The aspects of this game, I think, that out of transition that really matter is those confidence going for those balls and closing those balls down in midfield. And I feel like North Dakota felt very confident of just whacking the ball into a weird direction, letting Maris deal with it on defense. And Maris on the transition was really much so just kind of like, get this out of my half. I really need to regroup. But ultimately, that doesn't really result in any consistent pressure. And so if Maris can find that little gathering, and granted, this may just be game 1 jitters, as we all know. You know you're on stream. You know you're being literally analyzed by us every touch you take. So I think maybe it might just come with time, but certainly so. North Dakota seems to be settling in very easily.
And I mean, the scoreboard almost speaks for itself as well. Maris had 3 shots on goal. That ball just took a really nice long vacation on the blue half for most of game 1. Let's see if it turns it around here in game 2. Again, I want to see more pressure from Maris. I know this team, and I know what they can bring to the table. I want to see that here.
Certainly so. And with game 2 just beginning, we're already starting with at least an aggressive kickoff, but Cypher gets a little bit of his teammates, unfortunately, and North Dakota just right back to business, almost dropping one immediately to Geeks, but can't really get that free jump on target, as now a little bit of shenanigans in midfield here as everyone's trying to reset after the kickoff. Always that kind of awkward growing phase of both offense and defense once you gather boost and everyone has to kind of fit into the puzzle piece of rotation. But again, we'll see Maris just kind of throw one deep with Shane. Tones taps it to the corner. Good, decent possession play though. Cypher will get on it, but Cannonball will be able to combine for the clear. But Maris is definitely looking a little bit more aggressive with these deep rotations, maybe impacting their ability to get upfield consistently.
I do like that, but again, I need to see some more intent on where they're hitting this ball, because again, it almost seems coincidental. Oh, as that one almost finding its way in. We'll continue this further, Taco, but I'm very curious, can Maris click? If they can click here, it'll spell wonders for them.
It's a really long time to leave that ball unattended, and Cannonball will punish them for it. Great placement into the far corner.
And it's unfortunate, everyone played too far up here for Maris, and Cannonball just waiting to strike, sees the open opportunity. Almost no work involved with that play, other than just playing the Maris defense against itself.
That's a brutal sign there, as they have been looking a little bit more lively, but right there, you have to make sure. We even saw somewhat like a shadowy portend of what was to come earlier, where we had 2 defenders on Maris going for a ball, and then both of them left it, and it allowed North Dakota to be able to get a shot, and that was just mere moments before their eventual goal. So still clearly Maris trying to play fast, but maybe it's just a little bit too much confusion right now. So see, coming into kind of the remaining sections of this game, I think the speed looks good, but I think it really just might have to come down to communication, as a couple players now crowding around the ball, and another glance across the goal is dealt with for now, but now they're trying to transition out.
Hey, you can see North Dakota, they understand if they put this shot on net, they're going to have a double commit more than likely. And then all of a sudden, you have your last man back in goal trying to make this ridiculous save. And maybe 8 times out of 10, they will make that save, but what North Dakota is counting on are those 2 opportunities.
Cannonball with a bounce shot. It's over the bar. Greeks tried to put that in, but instead will lead to Tones. A nice clear back. We'll turn this a little bit into a volleyball match, going over the net, and now going into the net. Geeks with a second.
And it's the same formula here. Look at Cypher, last one back. Unfortunate touch. You can't blame for that one, but there's no one else there to help out with the defense. I believe it was Shane who was just coming in on the rotation, but was also coming in from the wrong side of the rotation as well, so wouldn't have been able to make a play on that ball. And it's just little things here and there as Maris, they have these opportune goals that they've almost been getting, but that's not good.
That's a little brutal. I thought it was a little aggressive throwing it on target, and it's almost as if they wanted to punish him for it, as Red Rocket unfortunately combines with Tones to be able to get a third goal for North Dakota. And at this point, it's really coming down to these crucial tiny touches. I find that Marist at this point, I'm a bit concerned about the mentality. I find that when teams get pressed in their half, they get very desperate to push up. So the moment they actually get a chance to push up, they move forward aggressively, but then a ball over the top just undoes them because they're going fast upwards of the field, but they're not actually covering the possibility that they might have to defend very quickly. This game, possession-wise, is very fluid, so maybe these softer touches, these passes that they're neglecting, might be coming in helpful if they can continue to find them, but sometimes you see a solid shot. Tones puts his team on the board.
And this is just a little bit confusion here on the defense. You have bodies in net ready to make this save, but you know, I don't know, maybe it feels backflip for Geeks. Might be excusable. But it's still a 2-goal deficit here. Now can Maris bring it back? We asked the same question last game, but then it sort of got away from them. They still have plenty of time though, and it might just happen.
Red Rocket just completely frozen in place there. I feel as though they were ready for this touch, and then it goes just behind him. Just could not react in time. It's either a desperate side flip, but this is very lively for Maris, and this is exactly what you want. The most vulnerable team is right off that kickoff after that first goal, and being able to immediately seize something off of an immediate possession there. It's definitely a good sign, but that journey is not over. They still have a minute 45 to get one more to at least bring it into overtime, and Cannonball doesn't want to be that giving, almost gets one off there. Red Rocket, as last person back, actually gives it up. Full team counter on the cards, potentially for Maris. Cypher, good pass, a couple touches there, but Cannonball cuts that out well, and Maris gonna have to go back to the drawing board through the middle here with a 50.
And that was very excellent defense. You can see that they were slowing down the Maris offense, not allowing them to transition to a full attack mode. Oh, and then the dagger coming out here. It's almost like Maris can bring the heat, but they can't take it. As soon as they push up, you were saying this earlier, Taco, they just push up way too much. And now all of a sudden, all that work they put in to get those 2 goals, oh, I hope it's not for nothing.
I find that a lot of offensive pressure in Rocket League is based around your ability to follow backboard hits and make sure you're tapping it high, stealing boosts from the opponents, but also an equal amount of offensive pressure is how much you can cut off those clears and outfield touches from the defense. And sometimes that requires, weirdly enough, to let the pressure off a little bit or give them space to clear so you can cut those touches out. And that last goal, Shane committed very hard up the right side with his teammates, and then the ball goes to the left instead on his side, and then they can't get to it, and it leads to an awkward counter. So have to be very careful on that. Geeks, though, throw caution to the wind, just going for a double tap, trying to pad those stats, trying to add another goal onto the margin, but won't go for now is Cannonball. Actually, I was just thinking of going for the back pass, but good demo from Maris, though. Doesn't reap rewards, but it's good to show that they're trying something new here with the demo meta.
Well, it's very good. You have to be able to adapt. Teams that find success are not the ones that keep playing the same formula over and over again. But now it's looking like they're going to be down to 2 games in this best of 5, so to see Maris come back is going to require the reverse sweep, and that doesn't bode well for them historically.
And unfortunately, as we mentioned, that slide of games can really weigh on you in moments like this where it's almost like, oh, well, this is a pattern we've seen before potentially, and you see this string of results that from North Dakota now showing a lot of confidence, and at the point where a lot of these touches going in for them are, it's not anything that I feel like North Dakota is putting on unbeatable pressure. It really just feels like Maris isn't dealing with these transitions very well. And I think part of it is the fact that you get into this mentality that in order to get that more offense, you really need to press upfield, when in reality, I think they just need to take a deep breath, consolidate movement, make sure they're challenging the ball well out of midfield. And I think results will come, but I think you're seeing the ugly downside of that when you're focused more on, oh no, I hate this feeling of being penned in. Let's try to be more aggressive. But the problem is that aggression is so easily punished in this collegiate scene.
Yeah, and even if you look at the scoreboard and look at the replays that are playing behind it, you can see some of these North Dakota goals. They're just doinks from way downtown that don't require any like special skills. Like Geeks was going for double taps, of course, so you gotta add some pizzazz here and there. Oh, yeah. But it was all just basic counterattack, basic Rocket League, and it's working for them, and they're going to continue doing that as long as Marist allows them to punish them.
And the game plan has not changed as much for North Dakota. They're just going to be really trying to throw on that pressure and see if Marist can deal with it. Marist has had to deal with it for 2 games, and now chance to flip the script going into game number 3, trying to stave off that 3-and-done sweep, as now Cypher actually has to deal with it right off the bat, and unfortunately North Dakota right off the kick has the lead.
And this is a really tough position for Cypher. I think Cypher turned a little too early on this. I think if Cypher continued towards the goal, maybe would have had a better chance of making the save, but it's unfortunate that they just couldn't time it properly. And again, kickoff goals, you hate to see it, but you gotta figure that one out.
And sometimes you get caught in those no man's land where you're not quite close enough to challenge, but you're a little bit too far away that it makes you wonder, should I be a little bit closer? And starts to weigh on your decision making here as another ball kind of just drifts out. Geeks will be able to touch this into the corner and touch it again, maybe going for a third, but at the very least slowing down that Marist defense. Shane Boostar will be able to roll that out, but Tones now high lob upfield. Geeks gonna have trouble reading this fully. Tones will be able to adjust onto this one, flick on target. They get another little doink on it, but it will be saved out. Good defense from North Dakota. Content just sitting on that goal line, and so far shots looking a little bit weak coming in from Marist, as Tones will try another one, but another deflection down, and Geeks will get another clear.
And then you see more team plays. I'm seeing Marist right now. We have one player bringing it downfield, and that's not going to fly. I need to see some passes to clear out this defense for North Dakota, make them uncomfortable. But look what Red Rocket's doing so well. It's his midfield presence that North Dakota is bringing. It's just not allowing Marist any time in the orange half, and it's really suffocating. This is why they're getting really stuck, and this is why they're not producing anything on offense.
But on defense, at least, Marist is being able to just slow down North Dakota for a little bit with a nice save from Cypher, and now a pass from Tone. Cypher was lurking on that back post, and that third man we're going to have to be lurking from the great beyond. Demoed away, and it'll set up Geeks, though, for an open opportunity, but another double tap. Not going to go on target here. Still 1-0, so Marist playing along here very well, and there's a pass coming out, though. Geeks with a nice save. Good to see from Marist. Some signs of life on offense as another ball lobbed at goal, but Red Rocket will be able to combine with their squad mate and get another clear downfield. And at this point, North Dakota might be thinking about some time wasting more than anything. Content with their lead. They don't need any more goals.
They don't, but you know how this team operates. They want to just keep on going. Their best offense is also their best defense as well. The more time they keep this ball on the blue half, the less opportunities they'll give to Marist. And Marist is a team that is really built on momentum. So if you can really hold them to just no goals here, or if you can just keep on piling it up, you will find success.
And another ball just kind of lurking in the midfield, though. Marist now trying to get on top of it, but deep rotations from Cypher just going to set up another clear. Cannonball dealing with this one to the side. Red Rocket, just a high lob. Nothing much doing on that. And now we're starting to see a little bit of ping pong here as both teams just try to get a solid contact, and not much success being found from either side. At least this one will go on the backboard, and Geeks will be first to it. A solid contact onto the near post.
And you gotta admit, like, the Marist defense up until now was playing very stellar. They were getting back in time. It is an unfortunate situation where the rotation's not quite right. Both defenders rotating in from ball side of the field instead of far side. And it leads to awkward positioning like that, leads to an easy goal. So again, it's the little things that really do add up, especially at this level of Rocket League, where your opponent really knows how to punish you for making those mistakes.
Certainly so. And 90 seconds, though, is not the worst time frame to work with for a 2-goal margin, especially since they have been knocking on the door a little bit with North Dakota. It's really just trying to find their way through, but these demos, both teams trading a player, aren't going to help, especially with this transition where you need this consistent movement up. And now trying to capitalize on these touches. Shane with the deflection. Red Rocket reads it well, though. We'll be able to clear that down and onto transition. That's going to be an interesting clear coming out from North Dakota. Coming off ceiling, though. Geeks, maybe this was the one to go.
Wow.
Doesn't matter if they touch it. Cannonball's there, and that's 3.
Backboard defense so critical. Unfortunate for Shane, actually centers that ball and gives it right to Geeks. And again, it's just little decisions here and there. Could be an entirely different outcome for this game. And we'll go more into that after the result of this one. Because who knows, Marist could bring it back. It'd just be very tall order right now.
And it's just got even taller with Geeks. A fantastic contact off this pass from Red Rocket. Sends that right into the top shelf. And at this point, it's really a morale beating coming in from North Dakota on Marist.
And if you're North Dakota, again, you're just going to keep playing like this. I see no reason for them to... I mean, they could just boom down the field and waste the clock if they want to, but this is their style of Rocket League, is just sustaining this pressure. And they're going to continue on for as long as there's time on the clock.
And now we're just kind of seeing Marist kind of desperately trying to find something out here. Ideally, you don't want to end this series with really only 1 goal to your squad's name. They're looking to kind of go forward and be able to pump a couple more goals through, but they're going to instead just, I guess, get a highlight on the save. Nice touch onto the crossbar here, but it really seems like North Dakota's content with just pressing that line. They have 10 seconds left, not to waste, but instead to see if they can pump the stats even further. Just relentless pressure coming in here, but inevitably that will give way, and so too will the Marist resolves. As time ticks down, this game will indeed be going, and this series indeed will be going to North Dakota.
And again, just really unfortunate circumstances. I'm actually looking at my previous notes, my casting notes from a couple weeks ago. And it's very interesting, actually. What I noticed is that University of North Dakota, way back in week 11, we're sitting at 1-7. And you know, now they're 4-8. But now, actually, after this win, they are sitting at 5-8. So they really turned this season around for themselves. I mean, that's impressive. Is that caster math actually correct? I might have wrote the wrong record down when I wrote that. But I mean, hey, they've only lost 1 game since then, and they're turning things around. Unfortunately, though, for Marist, now they're 6-6, and this is really unfortunate because up before this losing streak, they were again at 6-1. It's just complete reversal right now, and now this is a team that we expect to be at the top of the ladder. Oh, but now they're kind of in that middle ground now, and this is unfamiliar territory for them. And I think that also could be playing into this as well. Like, Taco, you know more than anyone that Rocket League is a mental game, and if you're on a slump like this, it could get pretty disastrous. And unfortunately, right now for Marist, they're in a very tough bind, and they need to find a way to get out of this. They need to find a win. And North Dakota, pen on paper, I thought North Dakota was their best bet. It was a very solid, it could have been a very solid matchup, a team that I think they could have met on the field and played well against. However, just simple mistakes here and there. I want to chalk it up to nerves almost. But at the same time, I saw some really egregious errors that I just could not allow. If I was this team, I would recommend to Marist right now, oh, please watch the VOD and take notes, because there were some touches here and there that really could have made a difference. I saw at one point, while they're only down by maybe 2 goals during last game, it was an excellent opportunity. I can't remember who is in what position, but the entire offense of Marist was going up the field, and it was great. We had a 1-2 pass play come out, but the second touch of that pass play went right into the goalie of North Dakota and didn't go out to, I believe it was Tones, who is center in position, ready to strike. But the ball was nowhere near. And again, it was just little decisions here and there really do make the difference.
They certainly do, and the impact of those decisions is that one team may fall into a winning category, and of course that was North Dakota. So fortunately, we'll be able to throw you guys to a short break and come back with a member of North Dakota. We'll be sitting down with Cannonball briefly after this break, so don't go anywhere. We'll pick his brain and see what led to this dominant performance in North Dakota after this break. And back. And welcome back, everybody. We're here with North Dakota's player Cannonball, coming off of that nice 3-0 victory over Marist, as Meet and Greek and I had just kind of brought through him. But Cannonball, how you feeling after that one? Good to hear.
Cannonball, I have a question here. So first of all, congrats on your win. It always feels good to have a 3-0 sweep. Congratulations on that. One thing that I kind of assumed during the series, and please correct me if I'm wrong, is that your MO, the North Dakota MO, from what I've noticed, is just sustain this offense, like no mercy, basically. And it played very well into really shutting down this Marist offense. You all limited them to just 3 goals during that entire series. And I was curious, once you sustain the lead, is that really how North Dakota plays? You guys just keep on racking the goals. You don't play keep away. That's just how you roll?
Yeah.
Should we re-ask that? so folks,
some strange auditory issues coming in here within EGF tonight, as we're doing a little bit of a interesting way of routing audio. So bear with us here, but we can assure you that Cannonball is with us and giving us some very nice and articulate answers here.
It really was a great answer.
Yeah, but I think that's certainly something that we've been talking about, at least. And so we'll be able to port audio in. But within that series, Cannonball, or really any series you guys are playing, do you find that when you are trying to adjust to a team, do you feel as though you're noting weaknesses or where you're finding successes and you adjust your game plan accordingly? Or do you find that you just try to play fast, and if the game plan works, then you just stick with it? You don't really tend to overanalyze. You're like, if it's not broke, let's not try to optimize. We're just going to keep going and see how it works out.
Yeah, we have a specific game plan we have coming into most series, and usually by the end of game 1, you can tell if it's going to work or not. And so then we just start adjusting, try to find what will work against that given opponent. But yeah.
I'm really curious now that you said that. So what was your game plan coming in against Merritt, if I may ask?
Yeah, just stay on offense. Whatever it takes to stay on offense was our goal for this series, and I think we accomplished that.
I see. So this might backtrack a little too far, but when you all beat William and Mary last week, what was your game plan then?
Uh, that one we actually scrim William and Mary quite a bit, so we're very familiar with their play style. So
Okay.
that one we just kind of came in and figured if we play our game, if we're all playing well, we can take that one. So we didn't game plan too much for that series.
I see. This is so cool. I love it when a team can strategize against like particular opponents, and that just to me that tells me that you all probably just take a lot of time and put it into your Rocket League, probably more than what you should be studying. But who cares about that?
Yeah, Rocket League's more important.
Yeah.
Well, it's student athlete. You can multitask with this. You can put in the time on the virtual pitch, and you can do it on your school. It's not an issue.
Grades.
It's you gotta make sure grades are there. But at the end of the day, what are grades? How can you focus on grades if your team's performance is suffering? So I think they work in conjunction. They're equally important. You can quote me on that and just send that to school administrators.
Oh yes, thank you.
That is, but actually talking about that like balance, I always I find that there is this somewhat dichotomy in the college scene between people who might think that when it comes to collegiate Rocket League, it's kind of like, oh, this is a hobby and we're doing it on the side. But in a way, if you are a team, especially at a university, playing to represent your university in different tournaments, potentially for cash prizes or really just adulation in general, you do want to make sure you're showing up. And so, do you guys treat that somewhat like you would, let's say, if you're on, a traditional sport team? Do you guys meet routinely for trying to go over replays or practices, or at least try to scrim with each other a decent amount, just so you guys can get kind of iron out the kinks, or is it really just kind of hop on and you guys just click in some of these series?
Yeah, we have like designated practice times. We practice a couple times a week. Certain days we do replay reviews, certain days we do scrims. So we have a set practice regiment. We take every game competition seriously, and yeah.
Good to hear, and it's certainly setting you up for success. So good to see that 3-0. But Meet and Greek, do you have anything else you want to ask before we send Cannonball on his way?
No, Cannonball, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate the insights so much, and good luck with your squad.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me.
What a wonderful young man, and hopefully we'll be seeing plenty more wonderful young student athletes coming up next on the EGF Rocket League. Well, guys, we'll be sending you to a short break, but we'll be right back with our next matchup of the night. Still got 3 more to take you through, so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. And welcome back, everybody. Sorry for, I'd like to say a brief break, but what happens with scheduling shenanigans. But fortunately for you guys, it's all time that this next matchup, it's in the oven and it's been preheated and now it's ready to be served. We have Fairfield and Butler coming up, two teams a little bit higher up on that table in the ranking. So I'm super excited to get this one in a way. Meet and Greek, what are we seeing from these squads coming into this matchup?
Fairfield University, number 10 on the overall ladder, actually second in the MAC conference, sitting at a really comfortable 7-4 record right now, looking to improve upon it, just inch a little bit closer, get up that ladder. However, they're going up against a really fierce Butler squad who's sitting at 9-3. They're actually third in the Big East, which we were talking about a little bit during the break, the Big East Conference. You see, if you look at the table, I have it pulled up on my second monitor. You see a lot of the Big East teams at the top of the bracket. It's a very powerful conference. And this Butler team also on a 3-game win streak as well, 3 weeks in a row, come out here with wins, looking to increase this as well as they're trying to, I guess, overcome, again, like their Big East rivals. That's basically who they're gunning against on this leaderboard. And it's almost Fairfield as a MAC school. This is almost like a conference, it's a conference, almost, I don't want to say conference clash, because Bumney might get upset at me. But it really is coming down to who's going to come up on top, MAC or Big East.
And when you see these conference collisions,
There you
do
go.
see,
I like that.
see expertly avoided. So tactical in my word choice. But when you do see these collisions of these two different teams, it's interesting to see because they're both fighting for that, obviously, conference supremacy and bragging rights there. But it's also showing that really the depth of the collegiate scene, that Big East is, somewhat put into geographic profile of a certain location. But it is really showing that Big East has a lot of teams vying for that top spot. And this is also just another chance that one of these teams, like Butler, can come out here and really make a statement for themselves going forward and seeing if they can really separate from the pack. So fortunately, we don't have to vamp anymore and really amp up this matchup because it is ready for us. We got Lerms and Kai coming in off the kickoff to start off what I'm hoping is a nice juicy matchup down the stretch.
Yeah, fresh 5 minutes on the clock. Game 1, of course, everyone knows the best of 5, so this one could go the distance. But Astro right away, really liking what we're seeing from Butler. Let's see if we can get some good offense generated. Shot on target. Barely batted away from that upper crossbar.
Sir Aaron getting the chance, but not the follow-up. That one's going to skirt off. So now lobbed on target. Kai not touching that, but Sir Aaron will be able to get that contact in. But both teams looking to really pounce on this. There's really very limited time that this ball is unattended out in the field. So nice quick touches coming in. So the substance of these contacts is definitely going to be, I would say, the main point of focus for me. Teams that play fast and get a lot of touches can be irritating, but it doesn't really amount to anything unless you can really have a purpose and direction behind them, as I'm starting to see Fairfield get together some
Ooh,
nice
okay.
touches, and Matter can't really place it better than that.
And right here, this is an excellent opportunity. Matter, recognizing Kai in a very unfortunate circumstance. You're turned away from the ball. You have to make a save like that. It's going to be very awkward. Again, just recognize the moment, win the shot on net. Very critical, leads to success.
So now coming back for more is Soccer Scout, but actually cut out. That could be a gap in the backfield. Astro slows the shot down, but it's a great save by Lerms. Sir Aaron on the follow, but that one will be turned away as well. Astro tries to pass, no contact. Matter into the corner. So decent looks from Butler down the stretch here. They're certainly getting no shortage of opportunities. Fairfield defense holding up here, and hopefully they can continue that trend as we're seeing another clear out, and still very much in this game, but a strong start from Butler to be sure.
It is, and still waiting for Butler. I mean, you're right, the strong start from Butler, but they're still down. They need to figure out a way to get past this Fairfield defense. Right now, Fairfield have all their work cut out for them, but they have to be careful. And Kai, again, threatening, but I need to see that into a pass. It finds its way to Astro still. I eat my words, Danger. It works out.
Yeah, certainly so. And Butler's shown that they're getting strong offensive looks, and they will be able to get on that board. Got a little bit worried on that bounce shot. They can be very difficult to save, but sometimes as an offensive player, they just kind of just clunk into the goal as you're hoping that no defender can hop on that. But fortunately now we do have that tie game 2 minutes into this one. And I feel like that might just be what has to separate these teams, is who can be able to slot these shots through these gaps in the defense. Because overall, I'm fairly impressed by the defensive capabilities of both these squads so far. They're getting these balls quickly. They're getting solid contact. It might just come down to simple execution.
This one might just turn into a slugfest between these squads. I'm really curious to see if that will happen. You know, that will make for really entertaining Rocket League as well. We'd love to see just teams absolutely score just bangers on net. It would be very entertaining, but right now both squads playing very conservatively right now. Being very careful, not wanting to make a mistake, give up this lead.
So Kai will take some time with this one as they'll send it deep into the half, but good hit because they are able to chase it to a certain extent. So Aaron slaps it into the middle. Astro is playing it soft. A nice little passing play, but unfortunately gets away from them as Sockshot's going to go for the backwards aerial. No contact from the follow-up, and instead will be cleared down, but speaks definitely to the confidence of Fairfield mechanically. And sometimes you don't need any mechanics. You just need solid contact. Matter with number 2.
And again, this is the second goal now for Fairfield, where they just hammer this ball downfield and the defense just slightly out of position. Different circumstances on this play, but it was still to the same effect. Now Butler just has to be a little bit careful. They don't want to push up too much. They're going to find themselves more vulnerable just like that.
It's always a fun time to be able to rotate cleanly, and you're trying to counter the other team, and then at the end of the day, the one thing that breaks them apart is arguably the most straightforward play, just slapping it downfield and hoping for the best. So Butler certainly going to have to watch their backs necessarily, seeing how far out of goal they are, but so far the offense is flowing. I'm not too worried about their output here, as an interesting pass there comes in. Sir Aaron on the far post doesn't get it to go, but certainly made Fairfield wipe their brow a little.
As we're approaching the final minute of play here, I still need to see Butler challenge this Fairfield defense. I need to see some passes. I need to see some conviction. Again, like, it's just slight hesitancy. You saw Siren going around the corner there, but just to no effect. We need to see some substance to these plays.
Certainly so, and now Soccer Scout's gonna throw something into an interesting area. Sir Aaron is quick to it, but can they follow up with a quality pass? They can. Kai is there over the defender, but also over the bar. That one will be countered away, but Butler is slowly running out of time to be able to capitalize on these plays. Fairfield more than capable just kind of throwing that ball downfield. They also seem fairly comfortable just kind of throwing the ball into a dangerous area, and they're getting away with it on defense as a double tap doesn't go, but still under pressure here. Butler trying to dial it in.
17 seconds left. We need to see some action from Butler here. They have the numbers upfield. Oh, Kai had the open opportunity, but could not find the angle. 6 seconds.
Final seconds ticking down. Does anyone get on this one? We're in 0-second time. Soccer Scout gets a touch. Kai keeps it up. What a catch. Can they perform some last-second heroics? Astro with the flick up field and the dunk, unfortunately, will spell the end for this one. Fairfield scraping by with a 2-1 victory in game one.
Oh, that was almost incredible. Astro getting bumped into the ball to keep it up in the air by his own teammates. That was awesome. Unfortunately for Butler, they couldn't tie it up in 0 seconds, but I probably would have fell out of my chair. That would have been a great moment. But now Fairfield, yeah, you're right. They scraped by with a win. It looked like Butler started turning up the heat towards the latter half of game one here. So going into game two now, if Butler can keep this intensity, I have a feeling that they could turn this series around, tie this one up, no problem. Fairfield just has to be a little cognizant of that and just understand that they need to keep up their own pressure. They need to play Butler's mistake, because as Butler gains that confidence, they're going to be making more of those overcommits upfield, and then they're going to have to play those. So again, it's a give and take situation. If Fairfield can recognize that, then maybe they could play it to their advantage.
And I think this phrase isn't often used in this context, but I think the thought that counts, it's the thought that counts is really important when it comes to the tactical play of Rocket League. I find that Butler is looking for a lot of passes, and they haven't seen much success, but I love teams that are consistently moving the ball with their teammates in mind. And I think even though they're not seeing these constant infield passes getting smacked in the top corner and they're getting a bunch of goals, the fact that they're constantly looking for that, they have a follow-up man ready on every shot, even if it's a close miss, is encouraging. So going into game number 2, is that going to really sow anything coming from this, as they really been able to reap a fair amount of opportunities by putting the ball into interesting areas defensively, but how long is Fairfield going to be able to hold, and will they be able to stave off a, as you said, kind of warming up Butler offense?
Yeah, and I mean, you can see it right away. Fairfield's going to almost put one bars down and away. Both these teams now coming up with great opportunities in game 2. And you love to see this. Just the intensity right out the gate is awesome.
Certainly so, and Matter definitely a player to watch, bagging both of those goals last game, and is frequently in the mix of some dangerous opportunities for Fairfield, as we just saw. And Kai is also in the mix with this one, being able to sneak it past on the near post for the opener.
And you'd love to have the solo goals come out. I mean, Kai just dribbling past the entire defense, even with the self-sacrifice, able to find its way in. Don't need any teammates for that play.
Unfortunately for that, the solo play is always nice to break out, because Rocket League is a team game, but if you're fast enough and be able to generate those opportunities by yourself, then go on for sure. And Kai's definitely looking for some more, as he's actually going to exit that play, but get a bump to go. A good pass into Astro on the near post. A little close to the defender, but almost snuck its way by. And Fairfield will try and get down, but Kai yet again trying to solo it. He goes for the musty, but no contact on that one. He's feeling himself here in game 2.
And now you can tell the confidence level for Butler has just gone up exponentially from game 1. If they can keep up this pressure, they're going to give Fairfield University a little bit, or not just a little bit, but a major hard time.
Sir Aaron will clear the lines, just give him some space to breathe, as Fairfield has slowly been able to push in at times, but a lot of this has really been touches like that, really deep touches that Butler will send right back. So Fairfield is starting to play a little bit more spaced out, but I think at the end of the day, every game at this level, especially now that Butler's very confident, there's an element of each game, or really a time period, in which it is really just an adjustment period, seeing what works and what doesn't now that Butler's playing with all this confidence that we mentioned. And I think Fairfield is in that adjustment period right now, as they do look under press, but at the same time, they are still getting forward and they are still getting opportunities. It's really just a matter of, can they get out of defense at times, as Astro sends another one wide, and Fairfield can maybe counter on this.
And they're so pressured, but when Fairfield's able to strike back, they strike back with conviction. However, Butler has been doing a fantastic job. Look at these passes that are starting to come out from them. They're really finding each other on the field. You can tell the connection is there. Bump on the defender. Again, these are just really intricate plays that they're just creating out of thin air, and it's working very well.
So now the tap down, and Kai will actually be able to ring that out, bring it up the field. That's a ceiling pinch. Sir Aaron on the chase. They don't arrow for this one, but they will get on top of the next. Astro no follow. It'll sit there in the middle for the taking. Fairfield racing to it, but gets interfered with, and Kai open hallway basically just to push that one down for a second.
And right here, sometimes the ball is your worst enemy because it can just really bug with your view and not understand. And plus, the bumps from the defense or from the offense as well. It's just a recipe for disaster right there. Absolute chaos on the field. And Kai able to take advantage of that chaos and score.
Now, this is the Butler that we were hoping to see. They are higher up in the rankings, and they're looking like it now with a good amount of pressure, holding Fairfield to only 2 shots as compared to Butler's 6. And there's still more time to add on to that as Astro forcing another close save out from this orange side. But it's definitely encouraging to see Butler being able to kind of speak to their rank here, and really also just speaking to the quality of the Big East Conference in general.
You have to give big props to the Big East Conference for making their mark here in the EGFC. It was only recently that they're able to join in on the fun, and they have come out in style. And you know, I just can't wait to see what else is in store for EGFC as well as we get more and more college teams in on this. It's just been a fantastic ride, and it's been great competition.
Certainly so, and right now Butler is making Fairfield look like a little bit skittish here. Kai is going to net a hat trick, and that one clunkier than most goals.
It is, but you gotta love the resolve here. Kai sticking with it until the end, and I mean, you get a very nice, favorable bounce as well. It ends up working, but that's kind of one of those situations where you gotta create that opportunity for yourself. That ball wasn't gonna go in without Kai really pushing upfield and forcing that pressure. So again, you may count that shot as like an own goal and maybe bounced off the defender, but it was all really Kai allowing that setup to happen.
Yeah, certainly so. Goals are not made by pure mistake alone most of the time. It really comes from that last little touch, and sometimes defense feels like they have it handled. Kai hits it maybe a little bit faster than they anticipated and does result in a goal, but it's very much caused by that offensive pressure, and Kai's been giving it to Fairfield in spades this entire match, so he's certainly stepped up here, and it's showing in the result. What looks like it's going to be closed out for a nice 3-0 victory for Butler here to equalize the series.
And again, yeah, huge game for Kai. I mean, talk about putting the team on his back. I mean, it just looks like it, and you can also look at the scoreboard as well. No assists either. It's just the Kai show right now. However, this is what Butler really needed, and it may seem like Kai did most of the work in this. However, it was really a result of everyone from Butler getting in on these plays, playing interference on that one goal to create the opportunity for Kai. It really is a team game, and the scoreboard is super misleading, and a lot of people will tend to like overlook that, and you really have to look into the little details into the match to see how things really got started.
And I think this is a very classic game 2 pendulum swing type of match where Fairfield, I felt, had the better opportunities down the stretch. They were taking their chances, and now you're starting to see Butler start to understand, okay, we know the speed we have to play at, let's adjust. And then it was Fairfield, somewhat on the back foot, not really understanding how to break out, and seemed a little bit more panicked on offense, trying to put pressure on. So coming into game number 3 with the series now tied, we are getting that close matchup now at least series score, but this is a dangerous kind of statement game now for Fairfield. Can you prevent Butler from really, throwing down that pedal and pulling away here? Or is that second game just another pendulum swing, and Fairfield's going to be able to come back here and be able to counter with a new tactical approach?
My concern with this game here is that Fairfield needs to score a goal. They didn't score at all in game 2, and if they give Butler the first goal of this match, it's not gonna end well for them. They need to regain this momentum. If they can stop Butler, slow him down, bring him down to earth, that'd be great. But right now, Butler is looking on fire. Look at these plays coming out right now. It's just, you're hard pressed to find yourself in a tougher position.
Absolutely, and Fairfield certainly in a tough position as of right now. Very little boost here. Sir Aaron can't get that one to go. Kai's just going to glance it by the near post, but Fairfield really struggling for boost here, and it is showing as they're slowly creeping out of goal, but not quite able to get some contact. This will help from Matter getting that touch, and Soccer Scout with a dunk will be able to help them reset ranks, but kind of get back into a cleaner defensive position. But nevertheless, Butler just keeps marching down, and no one on the near post is going to stop Sir Aaron.
I mean, Sir Aaron, this is classic threading the needle. And Astro, again, playing slight interferences there as well. Getting from the defense, jumbling up a little bit, but again, really big props to Sir Aaron. That was the only place that they could have put that ball on net and scored.
Certainly so, and now we're going to have to see, again, how Fairfield adjusts here. Within a minute, they've fallen behind after a very good offensive push with a decent amount of boost starving to boot. So it's really all about, I think, the quality of teams down the stretch is how they adjust to adversity, and Butler is giving them maybe too many servings of adversity for right now, so we just need to chew a little bit, let it digest, and see how they adjust as they're actually getting a decent foray in here with Matter over the top and a bump on the defender, but Sir Aaron will be able to get it out for now.
And with that opportunity like that from Fairfield, you need to send someone up and put a shot on net. That ball was floating right in front of the goal line, and yet no one had the pressure. That's a situation where you don't get many opportunities like that, especially from this Butler squad. You have to take advantage.
So Matter trying to slow things down, grab some possession. We'll tap that into Herms. A fantastic challenge, but that pinch is going to ricochet well beyond the net and go right back into the Fairfield side. Self-touch by Sir Aaron, though. Herms trying to chase it down. They do get a contact. No follow, though. Astro on the gather, gets a flick. That deflection, that's not gonna be pretty. It's off the backboard. Sir Aaron waiting, but Herms, the savior, will be able to tap that one out, and with a follow, will be able to tap that onto the Butler backboard. Astro deals that well, and Kai another clear. Signs of life for Fairfield, but no goals yet.
And Butler still back on the offensive. They're making Fairfield really stretch the field from one side to the other. And this is very excellent if you want to disrupt Fairfield offense from really occurring. Once they, Kai almost finding a double tap. Unable to do so. Again, this Butler team is forcing Fairfield to play very uncomfortably, going from really quick offense to all of a sudden, oh, we have to go all the way back, get in position for defense, and it really just disrupts them. As Herms is going to slot one in.
Slot one in indeed. Nice shot coming in from Fairfield team, and this is exactly what you need to do. That chance didn't seem like much, but when it comes up, really just need to make sure you smack that on target, make the defense work for it, and kind of hard not to work for a shot when it's going to blaze right on target past your defenders. So second chance actually coming in from Herms, but that'll be denied. The bounce shot from Soccer Scout, and just like that, Fairfield has a lead.
You can feel the momentum just absolutely shift here. And that's an unfortunate touch from Astro. That's a really awkward spot to be in. And any other place on the cart, if you touch that ball any other way, it would have just cleared straight out. But instead, it was awkward. It bounced right in front of your net, and it was a perfect setup for a clean shot on goal.
Just another beautiful attack there, but Fairfield making sure they have to do the same on defense as they get away with a post bounce and out. Herms is going to be able to get some contact on this, but Matter tapping it again to the corner. And they follow it again, they will be able to. And Astro's actually a little bit mispositioned here. Herms coming up for a nice shot. That's top shelf. It's a great save as well, though, meeting the challenge. And right now, both these teams a little bit frantic. Butler having lost their grip on this match, seeming like they're running around a little bit, just trying to regain that sense of control they had earlier.
I mean, it's going to be a tough battle against this Fairfield squad, but they can do it if they just keep their resolve. And Astro, you can see glimmers of what was just happening previous to this. The first minute of the game, very different Butler squad coming out, but now you're right, Taco. They are jumbling. They're trying to find their footing, but they're not getting it. But it's happening on both sides, so no one's having a clear advantage.
Now Kai actually giving that touch across,
no.
but no one could get on it. Fairfield takes a deep sigh of relief, but their nightmare is not over yet. Kai is keeping this ball in such a clunky position, and it's right
Oh my
out in front.
goodness.
Still no boost to finish. Soccer Scout will be able to be the savior and transition onto offense. Matter lurking in the middle, but will shut down. 20 seconds remaining. What does Butler have? Ball out in the middle. Sir Aaron, no touch, and
my
Soccer Scout
goodness.
again will be able to get it out for Fairfield.
Taco, someone on Butler, please hit the ball. It doesn't even have to be threatening either, but so many opportunities given to them, but they just fall by the wayside. No one has been able to put one on target, and now 0 seconds left. Can they tie this up? Here's their last chance. No, they cannot. This one's gonna go away.
A lot of offense pressure is keeping up those opportunities, but at the end of the day, some of them have to go in the net. Butler close, but no cigar, and it looks as though, unless we see some last-second heroics, Fairfield's going to come away with this one, but I guess Butler keeping it a little bit interesting, but ultimately that result will be finalized, and Fairfield comes back and reclaims their series lead.
And Fairfield, I mean, wow, talk about walking away unscathed. Multiple times that ball was in front of their net. It was just waiting for a Butler player to come and hit it. And not only, what's worse is that the Butler players went for the shots, but they just whiffed. And you cannot have that. If you're the number 6 team on the EGFC leaderboard, you cannot be whiffing free, wide open nets like 5 feet from the goal. Fairfield really walking away very lucky here in game 2. Should have easily been a tied game.
I do wonder what element of these games where you start to see a team like Butler where they're getting good pressure and it seems like, why is there no follow-up? I do wonder that they understand that Fairfield has a little bit of a hot hand right now. They're starting to counter. They're punishing you on these chances. And the fear sets in the back of your mind, like, what if I go up for this and it does get cleared around me? Let's play a little safer. But I think all things come with a balance. If you're giving up those chances to really crash the goal and make sure you're cramming in those opportunities that are just sitting on Fairfield's line, I counted at least like 3 or 4 balls that were just sitting there for the taking and no one was up. I think Butler's playing, I think it was a conscious decision. I think they're playing it a little more conservative. They don't want to get caught in the break, but ultimately those chances that you're giving up, you need to start pushing forward. You need to start taking those risks, especially near the end there. They had several chances in that final minute and just didn't get it to go. So coming here into game at number 4, getting down to the wire. Can Butler answer back, or is this where our series ends?
Yeah, of course, we all want to see a game 5. Multiple demos on the field. Catastrophe strikes, however, Butler not able to take advantage of the power play. And Kai's going to go up for a shot, however, the routine saves come out.
Now Sir Aaron just trying to keep it interesting, and mission accomplished as Kai's able to touch that one. Good save by Matter. Another ball into the corner. Herms getting a little low on it, but enough contact to deflect it across the far corner. Matter tries for the slow play. They're just going to be popping that in the middle. That's going to commit 2 players to it. Soccer Scouts trying to turn, but Butler, deep rotations again. No one challenging this ball, so I think both these teams just trying to acclimate to the new environment. As we mentioned, that pendulum swing, I think, certainly a step that both teams want to make sure that they are the ones that get out in front and make sure that they keep the lead if they do, in fact, jump out in front to start things. But again, Fairfield content with just hitting the ball down the field, and Butler's going to have to regather again.
And just a small opportunity for Blurms there, or Herms. That L almost catches me. You can see Fairfield trying to get a little bit creative. You'd like to see that. And here's an excellent opportunity, and just barely getting away. It keeps the defense of Butler on their toes. They have to recognize that, this Fairfield offense isn't just going to come at them straight on. They're going to find a workaround.
Now Astro's going to have to adjust all the way across the field as Lerms. I'm gonna commit to Lerms. I feel like it's Lerms, but Lerms flows off the tongue well, so they're going to have to adjust to that one. But Sir Aaron passing to Kai. Nice deflection though, Astro. 3rd man up. Kai's actually lurking there. A little bit of deflection. Interesting passing play from Butler. We saw that a lot in game number 1, and it worked to a certain extent, but famously game 1 also ended up in a loss for them. So certainly interesting ideas, but I do like it when teams really look for those short little passes. They tend to result in goals, but other times, like we saw in previous series, sometimes you just need to put it on goal.
Sometimes you need to as well. This one just finding and sneaking its way through. I mean, through 2 defenders. I'm sorry, guys. Someone has to block that shot.
It feels like a goal where both players are thinking, obviously this is my teammates, and then the ball just somewhat floats in unattended. So regardless of the circumstances, it is spelling a little bit of disaster, and we're seeing some more calamity in the back. Sir Aaron leaping on the loose ball.
And right here, you can see how this game, just how Fairfield turned the momentum around in Game 3. Now Butler is bringing it back here in Game 4, just complete shift in tone. And all of a sudden, it feels like Butler, they're in control.
So now Matter will be able to tap it briefly out, but Astro Kai and Sir Aaron just circling around this ball. They're all within 10 or so yards of it. It's interesting to see the confidence with which Butler is really approaching his ball. It's almost like once they start to smell that there is an opportunity in the works, they're really not afraid to commit up, and that confidence is something I'm concerned about potentially in terms of the counters from Fairfield. But so far, Fairfield, I think, is just a little bit shell-shocked by how much pressure they've really been put under in these beginning halves, and this midfield pressure coming in right there, like from Kai. So they're not making it easy to be able to clear the ball out, as Kai's going to demo another player and send another one over the backboard.
And again, we're seeing double commits coming out on the defense of Fairfield, sending 2 defenders up to get a ball that's going across their backboard. And they have to be very careful, especially if someone from Butler is able to get up and knock it down to a teammate for a quick 1-2 pass. And that's what's going to really spell trouble for them as we're approaching the 1.5-minute left mark. Fairfield University turn it around.
We'll see as Kai and Astro kind of get tangled up, but it doesn't affect Kai too much. Soft little touch on target will generate a save out from the defense. Astro again, that's actually a direct shot, and it just glances off of that near post. Kai's keeping it interesting again, and all these passes may not be the best opportunities, but it forces Fairfield to take them seriously, as they always have a follow. Kai denied with a great save, and now on the counter, Hearns getting a demo, but still generates a pull shot on it. And shockingly, the 3v1 is turned away by Butler.
That's so incredible. The first time I've seen a demo actually work against them. As Astro's going to increase the lead now to 3 goals. I am just shocked that Fairfield weren't able to tie this up. Instead, Butler walked away with a 3rd goal.
Such a brutal result for sure. And now it's just really icing on the cake for Butler, but salt in the wound for Fairfield, as a 3rd goal will go in on that transition. And it really just shows that you can't put too many of your eggs in one basket. They committed on that 3v1, and then out of nowhere, the unthinkable happens. But now, this transition, they are finding their footing. That's at least a first.
This is exactly what they needed. I was really concerned that we might see a similar scenario from their last breakaway play, but they're able to slot it in just in time. Now down by only 2 goals, 43 seconds left. Still plenty of time left, of course, if they get a quick one in. Could really turn the momentum around. So we'll have to see if Fairfield can really bring it back.
So interesting deflection here coming through as all the players committing on this. What a deflection by Kai, and that's a brilliant pass for Astro.
And this is a big defensive error. You have to understand, recognize yourself when you're the last one back, Soccer Scout. I'm sorry. You have to play like you're the last one back, because Lerms was on your backboard but was batted away from the offense, leaving you on your own. You gotta be a bit more careful in that. And you understand the situation you're in when you're down by then 2 goals. You have to find some way to get in front, some way to get a dunk on a player, maybe put a long ball downfield, but now it's just starting to fall apart here for Fairfield University, and now they should really look towards Game 5.
I think this is really just where you need to ignore any things that happen. At a certain point, a game starts to snowball, and they're trying to really force the morale break here on Fairfield, really making them feel like trash as these opportunities keep coming in. But I agree, if you're Fairfield, you have to just mentally reset, understand this game has been lost, nothing much you can do, and really just try to refocus, because series isn't over. And this is a dark part, but always darkest before the dawn, or at least Fairfield would have to hope that, as they will indeed be dropping game number 4 and forcing a game at number 5 coming out.
Trying to take one for the road. They're not going to get it. You're right, Butler. Going to take this one easy breezy for them. 5-1 score line here, and now we're approaching game 5. It's it's nice to cast a full series. You gotta love it.
It's always nice, and especially when series like this are very interesting, where it's not a reverse sweep, which is obviously good for drama. But I think at the same time, games like this really show that. I mean, we talk about momentum, and it's I think a caster's favorite word, because you talk about, well, teams seem to get on a roll and they really go through it. But these types of breaks keep things unpredictable. And right now, it seems like Butler at times is capable of all this pressure, but Fairfield, it seems like they might be relying a bit too much on that transition game, as really the only opportunities I've been seeing in the past couple games that they've come up is either Butler not dealing with the ball super correctly, or Fairfield is able to just get a ball kind of just tapped into their path, and then they're able to put it on target. So whether or not Fairfield can show up when Butler is starting to play fast and cutting off these midfield passes is, I feel like, the question for them to answer. Can Fairfield really get these wins against Butler if Butler is continuing to kind of shut things down in the midfield? And are they going to have to rely on a game plan that's dependent on Butler's mistakes?
It's very tough, because if you're Fairfield, you almost you don't want to play too careful, because Butler's just going to hammer your net with free shots all game. You have to have some sort of some stance on some aggression. I do believe Game 5 is going to be so tough. I fully expect both teams to play very conservatively here, because now they're both out of lives. It's not going to be as high scoring as last game. I know that for a fact.
Let's see if your prediction, in fact, holds water, as off the bat at least, pretty middling performance from both teams as they're trying to adjust to this. Also, I think you understand that there are no lives left. So at this point, you really do need to show up, or you will be, unfortunately, be taken home that kind of rough L on the score sheet. And Kai is not looking for lacking of confidence there, just going for a crazy read. Doesn't generate a goal, but I think he knows that even if he just gets any touch, it's going to generate something dangerous, as, again, he put something interesting for Sir Aaron. They don't get it.
Okay.
Astro can on the follow, and a nice 3-person rotation will generate their first.
And again, you can see the entire defense just diving for this, everyone's just desperate to make contact with the ball. But the Butler offense able to keep it just out of harm's reach, and then find its way to their teammates for the shot on target. Again, it's everyone on Butler working to score that goal. That's how they're going to find success here.
And Greek, it's just really, I'm not seeing a lack of pressure from Fairfield, but do you feel like they're a little too trusting on some of these balls? I feel like there's a lot of opportunities that they've given up to Butler that are really just committing a little bit too much on a read, and then that second touch coming in from that Butler offense messes them up. Like, do they just need to really batten down the hatches here as another one comes in from Astro?
I mean, they just need to speed things up. I think their defense is very reactionary, and it's not proactive. If they can speed it up just a smidge, they will all of a sudden find themselves in position, because you can see the telltale signs of a good defense when they're playing. They do have the correct rotations in mind, but they're just not getting there fast enough.
And that can certainly be some disastrous results, as Sir Aaron has an uncontested touch. They'll pass it out. Wow. Deflection in front. Soccer Scout just trying to get a flick. Herms is going to help that one out, as nice lobbed up, but really only buy them time for now. Fairfield, the ball finally crosses into this blue half. So it seems like it's been quite a while since it's made that trip, but Herms shows they still have some life. Gets a shot off, but it will be turned away. Now Fairfield is going to have to go back on offense. Still a 2-goal deficit, but certainly it could be worse based on that last game from Butler. And I'm curious to see how Fairfield's going to adjust now that they've seemed to be able to break out just a little bit.
Right here, that should have been on target. Instead, Fairfield walk away unscathed again. Getting pretty lucky with these opportunities that Butler isn't able to capitalize on. They should count their blessings as matter. That would have been a fantastic opportunity to catch the overextending Butler offense off guard. Instead, just unable to take advantage. And it's these little things here and there that are starting to add up against Fairfield University. And as we now pass the halfway mark here in Game 5, still a lot to be seen from them that I want to see, because we know this Fairfield University squad is super dependent on momentum.
And now another clear out, though. Very clear, burning those precious seconds off this clock for Fairfield, as Still trying to see, once they can get one in, I think they can definitely go forward with a bit more confidence, knowing that their journey becomes a little bit shorter. But they're playing very good on the midfield and not afraid to commit all the way back, as these deep rotations mean both players in the goal line. I think it's going to have to start getting a little bit creative with their opportunities, though. As Matter almost puts that on target. A little bit off, though, and going back to the drawing board is Soccer Scout, but he's going to get booted away.
And right here, Fairfield University slowly building up this offense. They've been spending quite a bit of time on this blue half. The midfield presence is coming strong as well, as they look to keep Butler University tied to that side of the field, but they're back on the offense. You cannot allow this. You need to get control of this ball. You're starting to run out of time.
So now Kai will send that over into the goal line. 2 players commit. This is a chance to break out, but just low boost from Fairfield means going to have to be a little bit more judicious really in their movement here, as they're running out of time. And I think part of it is just these boost steals are really just the offense pressure in general from Butler. It's draining this boost, and it's hard to transition when you're sitting at 12 in the tank.
It makes it a lot more difficult when you're in a situation like that. However, minute to go, Butler University not stopping. The pressure continues. 3-goal lead, 44 seconds, trying to ice it.
And certainly so, as we're seeing another kind of a nice pull-away performance here from Butler, as at the end of the day, I think they understand that pressure is working and they're not taking as many risks. It's always a shame to see a team have a lead and then they just keep trying to press, keep throwing everything forward, and ultimately it gives away goals. It seems like Butler's content with pressure they're getting, and they'll just take it when it comes. A 4th one coming in from Butler to extend this lead. It's starting to look a lot like game number 4.
And the decision-making here on the defense, a little unfortunate there. There were some better paths that the players could have taken to get in front of that ball, but it's all water under the bridge now. With 30 seconds to go, Butler just continuing on. They are not stopping here, Taco. They're trying to score more goals.
I mean, it certainly would help just to be able to boost them up. At least I think these performances, although maybe not the stat columns, they're, refreshing constantly trying to get leading goal scorer, because those stats really aren't something that EGF is going to be fixated on. It's more about this game differential. So ultimately, if Butler can play like they did game 4 and game number 5 in other series, going to bode well for them in the standings. And it took them a little bit extra time, but ultimately they will be your winners here in game 5, just edging out Fairfield.
And it was always going to come down to one of these teams winning 2 in a row. Well, actually, that's not actually true. Fairfield could have won this one, and they would have won in alternating games. But this was really back and forth this entire series, and you have to give Butler credit for not giving up against this Fairfield squad, because they could have easily just dropped what they were doing, especially after game 1, which felt really demoralizing, because we've all seen this Butler team play, and we understand what they're capable of doing. But they had really great resolve, were able to bring things back, and it was not easy, though, of course. It was back and forth, until these last 2 games, they felt really dialed in. I think after their game 3 loss, they kind of sat back and were like, here's what we need to do. We figured them out. Let's get to it. And they worked it out. Again, game 3 was the game where they should have tied it up easily in the last minute. They had so many opportunities in front of that net. So this series could have ended really quickly. It could have ended in game 4.
And unfortunately for Butler is that they're still getting out the win and they're looking strong at the end, but they're dropping games. That's going to affect game differential, especially since a team that they are chasing in the rankings is Seton Hall, which on the other stream, we just saw Seton Hall actually pull out a 3-0 victory, which is, again, not only going to keep them in their table position, but it's not going to help with tiebreakers when it comes down to that game differential. So a team like Butler, I think it's good to show that they have that next gear, that they can step up and win game 4 and 5 by a combined, I think it was a 9-1 scoreline combined.
Wow.
It shows a lot of offensive power, but at the end of the day, if it takes you until game 4 or 5 to reach that point, it's going to be a little bit tough. You need to close these series out against a team that, down the stretch, if you just looked at game 4 and 5 and you thought that was a game 1 and 2, you'd be thinking this is a straight sweep. It's just that slow warm-up is going to hurt you. And teams like Seton Hall, those upper bracket teams, they're pulling out these sweeps when it matters. And that's just going to aid them in more ways than just trying to, sweat out every single series.
Game differential, always so key, folks. We're almost at our final match of the evening, and goodness, Taco, this one's gonna be a good one as well.
Yeah, and I can't really wait for it. So hopefully we can get some hydration and make sure that we catch our breath a little bit as Butler and Fairfield taking it the distance. But do not go anywhere, everyone. We'll be right back after a short intermission with our last series of the night here on EGF Collegiate Rocket.
Welcome back, everyone. This is our final match of the evening. We have Canisius College going up against Marquette University. Canisius coming through from the MAC conference, Marquette coming through from the Big East. So it's going to be another good one. Both teams similar on the table, but different in a way too. Canisius kind of lowered third of the table. Marquette University almost middle of the pack, trying to find their way in. Taco, you were saying that their game differential was very interesting.
Yeah, when we're looking through a lot of these games and we're trying to figure out how teams stand, I think overall standing is important, obviously. If a team is winning more than they're losing and they're getting nice tiebreakers in their favor, they're going to get pushed up the table. But oftentimes you have to look kind of at the nitty gritty, and sometimes when you look at match differential, so how often are they actually dropping games within it, many times they're going to game 5, that can be somewhat revealing for how a team has gone. If you're getting all these wins, but you're going to game 5, it means you're barely edging out some of these series, and Marquette is one of those squads that's higher in the table than Canisius, but they're really getting by with some kind of a longer series. So whether or not they are going to have to be taking the distance again is up for grabs. So I'm curious to see if these players on Canisius can kind of throw Marquette through another ringer here, bring in the distance, but maybe this time Canisius, for the sake of their season, edging out a victory. And I suppose there's really only one way to find out, as we're going to have to go down to the field here for game 1.
It's going to be a tough battle. Canisius College fighting a 4-game losing streak, looking to break that this evening against Marquette. Let's see if they can get it done.
So starting off with some nice little pressure in the midfield is JFG. That was an incredibly interesting touch. I didn't think he'd be able to reach that, but not only does he get to the back wall before the ball, he's able to pop it out. No one on the offensive side for Marquette on that opportunity, but very interesting. JFG certainly in the mix now, and someone we're going to have to watch out for a lot of offensive generativity, as another ball will get slapped right across the face of goal.
And Marquette just down to business. High-octane offense. You love to see, and the passes coming through as well. Going to be very interesting to see what sort of spectacle they provide here. Look at JFG. Again, it's the offensive pressure, not even allowing the defense time to make contact. As Humble Potato, you know you're in for a good series where you can already see some players going for some flip resets.
JFG this time, though, a little bit backwards. They don't get on this one. They just get away with an opportunity, just falling right in front of their goal, but no one on Canisius pushed up enough. Now, Upa getting a shot off. Humble Potato will send it right back over, but Sanakar tries to get on it. Little bit of miscommunication. Bumps coming in here at midfield, and Canisius breaking out here. Humble Potato, interesting touch, but will be turned away by Upa. They're taking no chances. They're making sure they get some contact on that to the corner.
And that would have been a wild angle as well. And you could tell that was going to be somewhat on target, too. So some conviction. Oh, calamity strikes on the defense. JFG, this one was just a speculative shot, but it finds its way in.
And GLX in the back, just trying to get a touch to the side. I think they had the right idea. They just didn't quite get the bumper on it. Hits the hood instead and deflects down there. Juiced goal explosion. One of my personal favorites going off, so at least I'd like to see more of that, but I'm sure Canisius would like to keep the appearance of that explosion at a minimum. But at least we're going to get some variety here. Sanakar comes in for number 2.
And right here, again, just very awkward scenario. You can tell that GLX was expecting Potato to get another touch on that to get the clear away, and not for that ball to bounce directly in front of net. And all of a sudden, Marquette University, we go from a tied game to now they're up 2-0.
Yeah, and that's a classic example of how many factors you have to keep in mind when you're playing at this speed, where that ball got hit under the backboard, and Canisius took the time, maybe get a soft touch to follow it. Meanwhile, JFG just screamed in on that challenge and knocked it into a dangerous position for his teammates. So certainly something to be aware of. JFG, as we can see, not afraid to just get in the face, literally, of the team, as Humble Potato was basically dealing with JFG's bottom side of the car, just right on top of the hood.
We'd love to see it.
So we'll see another ball just kind of drift in front of the goal here. But Canisius not quite finding their footing yet in game number 1 here, as we're just about to hit halftime, and they're getting looks, but so far nothing coming out. Very deep rotation from Humble Potato as they're waiting for this one to be able to get that to the side. But I think Canisius had some nice looks in the beginning, but I think they're struggling to break out as a lot of this speed being showed by Marquette is proving to be quite troublesome.
They just can't beat Marquette to the ball. Now, granted, it's been some time now since Marquette have been able to score. They've been able to slow them down just a little bit, but not in the metaphorical sense, though. Marquette is just still beating them to the ball.
Ooh. Nice little delayed flick there, as they're certainly making Canisius sweat. It's only a 2-goal lead, though, so the 2-minute warning passed as we're trying to see how Canisius is going to transition. Sometimes that ball gets in an awkward position. You have to K-turn out of that, and it's going to generate a nice offensive opportunity. They can't get the clear, and Upa will get credited with the goal.
You can just see the panic on the defense on this play. They were not expecting Upa to put that there, and I'm Stuff actually had so much time on that play to get the clear, but just rushed it, didn't recognize the opportunity. Unfortunately now, they're down by 3, down by 4 off the kickoff goal. It just like that.
When it rains, it pours, and I always like to say, like, people take kickoffs for granted, and they're just saying, well, it's just a reset, now we get back to playing, but sometimes it can be calamitous, just getting a little bit too light of a touch, kind of glancing across the ball instead of getting that center line mass on that kickoff, and you'll see Marquette just kind of dance through the middle for a goal, so 90 seconds remaining, and I think at this point, we're going to have to see Canisius start looking towards game number 2.
They'll have to look towards game 2, but I'm still very concerned for Canisius because we didn't see really any offense from theirs get jump started. They were limited to 2 shots, and they were only from Humble Potato off solo plays. Here's an opportunity to get one in net. Can I'm Stuff make it? It does. But almost actually getting blocked as well. The demolition almost allowing the defense to spawn in Upa. And that's how interesting this match is. Marquette University, even when they're down in these precarious positions, they still try their hardest to get there, and you know, most of the time they do.
And they're definitely getting quite a lot on it, but you're starting to see that psychological state from Canisius there. He had that open shot. Arguably, you could say the open net, the psychologically most difficult shot in the game.
Yes.
As you have to make sure it's on target, and it certainly speaks to the mindset of these players. And I think when you're up and you have an open net, you'll kind of just throw it on target and hope for the best, and you'll trust that you'll get it on target. But when you're down by 4, I think you're just looking for really any path forward, and unfortunately, that path continuously just meets a Marquette player, and that's going to be a 5th.
And this is a very interesting shot on net because you have the defense right there as well. They're just not recognizing these passes. They're not intercepting them. They're allowing them. And these are passes across the middle that the goalie should get in front of. They should recognize are going to the Marquette offense. And again, these kickoff goals, Taco, they are just so dangerous.
Certainly so, and Marquette getting on the ball very well, and the comms are coming in really cleanly. This kickoff, it does take a lot of players who are on the ball, but making sure you have a clean path to it, you're hitting the ball into dangerous positions means a lot. But even just going back to that 5th goal, it seems like the defense is all around it, so the fact that they can still reliably pinch a pass in the middle and have someone screaming onto it to be able to knock it in on the near post, it's a crucial aspect of play that I think a lot of people don't really go through. It's good to calm, but it's also really nice to see a team like Marquette right now really gelling with their teammates and calling each other off and going for the ball quickly and being able to get so many opportunities. And I think they're really seeing good results out of this as nearly at Brazil territory here in game number 1.
And now, of course, it is only game 1, and we still have yet to see Canisius wake up. And if they are able to do so in game 2, I'm very curious to see what the extent of that will be. Will it still be a high-scoring game for Marquette? Will it be a game decided by just 1 goal? Will it be low-scoring? I'm still not really convinced from this Canisius team, and I need to see a little bit more.
I think the confidence was seemingly somewhat higher in the beginning of that match. I felt like when I was looking at this Canisius squad in the beginning, they were getting good looks. They actually did force Marquette into some awkward saves. But I think over time, they start to turtle a little bit as you sense that Marquette is really pressing forward with a lot of kind of a ferocity. And I mean, you're seeing the results of a team that has no qualms about just throwing themselves in that play. I mean, a hat trick coming in from Marquette's Upa, 7 shots just by themselves, actually one more than both of his other teammates combined. So that's a team that's very comfortable moving up and very comfortable just throwing a ball on target. And as long as those shots are consistent, like you said, the kind of consistent things where you say the best defense is a good offense. I mean, Marquette doesn't need to defend the goal when Canisius is so concerned about making sure that they're preventing all these quick opportunities, all this quick pressure, that they can barely push forward. And what we saw in the beginning of the game really faded down the stretch. It seemed like they barely had a presence in that second half of that game.
Canisius need to start out game 2 with that presence, with that pressure. They can speed things up. Again, they're just getting outpaced by Marquette. Marquette beating them to the ball. And a lot of these situations that should be 50-50s are almost entirely going Marquette's way. That needs to change here.
Off the backboard, Son of Car is going to try and rotate out, but instead dunks his own teammate. So helping out Canisius a little bit. Double agent action coming in from Marquette, but you can't always be flawless on rotation. Comms can only help so much. You're just trying to dodge your teammate. So they will have a second chance here with JFG lobbing a high one off the backboard. Sanakar, it's a great challenge, but even faster coming in from Humble Potato. And now with an open net, actually, I'm Stuffed might have an opportunity, but a great save by JFG. A fantastic position to be able to knock that one to the corner.
Yeah, playing that off your own goalpost as well to make the save. Big bucks. Oh, no. Oh, you hate to see it. JFG, though, again. Oh, that was just so tough. I'm Stuffed. That's an unfortunate touch, but you gotta put yourself in between the goal and the ball. And in that case, you put the ball between yourself and the goal.
And I think it's sometimes some of the most annoying players, at least in my experience in high-level play, are players like JFG, who just get that last little touch, and it's just annoying enough to get past the defenders. I think we saw that a lot with Kai last series, or Butler, where he's just getting just the last touch, and it just screws up the defense enough. So it's something that I'm sure that they'll be returning to the well a lot with if they are Marquette. But right now, they need to get it out of the defense, and right there is kind of what I'm talking about, where Canisius has some good looks, and Marquette's not dealing with it well, but just no one on Canisius able to follow in time.
And that's the thing. We have these rebounds coming off the Marquette backboard, but nobody from Canisius is up in time to make it a shot. They're waiting for the ball to rebound. They get a goal here, Taco. I'm still concerned.
I love this look. You look in the corner. JFG hits it off the sidewall, tries to follow, and the trailing player, I himself, knocks him out of the way, clears the path for his teammate. I love the heads-up play there to be able to get away that trailing defender, and just like that, Canisius, we're complaining they're not taking their chances. They create their own right there for the equalizer.
And after looking at it through a different angle through the replay, I am now starting to get a little convinced that this Canisius squad. I will eat my words for this play. I want to see more of that, though. I need to see more team presence from them if I'm going to be confident in this team.
But at least they're grabbing some boost now and starting to look a little bit more confident going forward on these plays, but Koopa will be able to manage it for now. That's a nice little 50, though. GLX actually generates a lot of respect on that. 2 players turning away. Now on the backboard, Potato, what can they do with this one? They'll opt just for the light near post touch. It'll slow down the play, but ultimately will allow them to keep some possession. And into the middle, JFG cleared out. Potato, a pass to GLX. They're going to flick that on. Son of Car, all this is generating a lot of pressure, but unfortunately that last touch getting away, maybe expecting someone to be in the middle, but no one was there ultimately for Canisius. Back in this game, and right now, if they can chain all these passes and find someone at that tail end of these hits, this is certainly an interesting position Marquette's found themselves in after such a dominant game 1.
Yeah, Canisius looking for that third touch, but JFG taking command here. Again, another touch from Upa. It's so slight, and you can see all 3 of the Canisius players on that same goalpost, essentially, in that same spot, just completely out of position. And when you're the Marquette offense, you're going to, of course, take advantage of that. They're not in position to make a save.
I'm a bit curious about the level of prediction coming in from this Canisius squad, as Upa did a brilliant job to delay that pass, really bait in those defenders, and then knock it past all of them. But JFG completely unattended to on that aerial, just had an open shot, and any good player going to be able to bury those chances. So Canisius definitely gonna have to go back to the drawing board. Offense getting some things done, but ultimately they need to get this out of their zone. Good job by Humble Potato coming from the back post and actually being able to continue this play up, as I'm Steph will throw their hat into that challenge, but no real contact coming in here as GLX soft touch instead, and another giveaway on another advance up as Upa just clean as you like, right down the middle.
What happened here with the defense? Let's take another look here. I'm Stuff was back. Oh, but I don't understand why I'm Stuff turned around.
I'm thinking that might have been one of the situations when you're in comms, it has to be instinctive. You have to understand who has the better contact, who has the follow-up, who's coming up, who's coming back. And it felt like that was a touch that went in between, like equidistant from both defenders.
Yes.
And it might have just been, oh, they have it at the same time. So a little bit of, not necessarily miscommunication, but maybe just a misunderstanding of their defensive positioning. But either way, Marquette, I mean, they'll take any goal that they can get at this point. So they're extending their lead, and with 60 seconds left, Canisius had a decent amount of control, but slowly slipping away the more Marquette kind of settles into the speed of this one.
And again, Upa centered, was going for that shot. It was contested that time, so Canisius is adapting to this Marquette style, but they're adapting a little bit too late here in game 2. So they're only down by 2. If they can get a quick 1-2 here, they can really turn the tide. GLX, I like the opportunity to serve around town, but no one was there but Humble Potato. Finding life here.
Can't be careless. JFG calling off his teammate, touches up the line, but then immediately Humble Potato's ready for that. And that is a good predictive play, something JFG needs to be aware of. You are getting good offensive opportunities, but you have to be aware that certain touches are being predicted by that defense. You can't just throw the ball onto the mid, kind of that sidewall and expect a solid contact not to come out. Any bounce shot always going to be hazardous for the defense, and certainly now this lead has become a lot more tenuous in this final 20 seconds as we're back within 1. Marquette dedicating 2 players to this. Humble Potato, they'll go for an air dribble to generate a 50 in the final 10 seconds. This might be one of the last pushes they're gonna get. GLX right into JFG. I'm Stuff trying to slow it down, but Marquette taking their time, and for good reason. All they got to do is burn off this final second. And we're into last second heroics here from Canisius, which will not be able to be executed. Marquette taking a second game straight.
And Marquette, all they had to do in that last 10 seconds was park the bus, and they did exactly that, able to keep Canisius just out of the danger zone there. Now Marquette looking on the precipice of a 3-0 sweep, and Canisius clearly are not in a great spot right now. However, Taco, I think we can both agree that we did see some great things come out from Canisius there. And it's unfortunate that it had to come out when they're playing under so much pressure. But maybe that's the best way to get this team back really in it. You know, like learn to swim, throw them in the deep end. I think that's what's kind of happening right now with Canisius. And hey, I think they can turn things around here in game 3.
I definitely feel as though this game grew closer. I mean, we are still seeing Marquette take their chances, but they actually were outshot in that last game. Canisius was able to put in more shots, force Marquette into far more saves, 2 on the side of Canisius, and you're seeing 7 on the side of Marquette. But at the end of the day, Marquette's still scoring more. They don't need more shots if these opportunities coming through are just being executed on. Granted, it is nice to see that game 1 was a fairly wide margin. Game 2, a lot closer, coming down to those final seconds and Marquette having to close it out. So coming into game number 3, hopefully if you are Canisius or you're a Canisius supporter in the chat, you're going to see a continuous pattern. Maybe this time being able to take the lead, but you have to stave off this Marquette offense.
Right here, fresh 5 minutes on the clock. Game 3, Marquette looking for the 3-0 sweep. Can they get it done?
They're going to have to, again, fend off Canisius in the beginning. And Canisius is doing a fairly good job in the beginning of these games, getting pressure, being able to get early opportunities. But unfortunately, kind of throwing that one away is GLX, just rolling that right down the middle. Now Humble Potato is 1 against 2. JFG, what a dunk, but Humble Potato, the improv defending, will be able to pinch that one all the way out and be able to clear their lines, if only for a moment.
Yeah, back into the clutches of JFG. I'm stuffed meeting that on the ground. Very tough gamble, especially since Marquette has been able to beat Canisius in the air so often. And now Canisius are on a little bit of a run for their own, but they got to be careful. Don't push up too much. And now here comes JFG. Full boost to the take. Has to be Humble Potato. Almost went for the flip reset. Would have been nuts.
Certainly so. And 2 defenders dedicated to this one as Clay, you can see the respect that Canisius is giving them, sending the house really on some of these clears, but they are looking decent at keeping pressure, but certainly a lot of balls just kind of given away. GLX low on boost. Kind of dives at that one, hoping for a touch, but no dice. I'm stuffed. Trying to keep some possession, but ultimately GLX is going to have to turn around for this one. JFG, tough angle, and that shows why. Not able to find the target, just going to glance off the near post. Upa trying to keep it dangerous, but ultimately will be a clear coming out from I'm Stuffed. But again, just not that second touch, and the counterattack is going to have to restart.
And a little bit of miscommunication. I'm Stuffed and Humble Potato both find themselves the same corner on offense. It's still going to work out for them as they retain the pressure, but they both rotate back and they do not support GLX. And again, leaving your third man out to dry upfield, it's not bode well for your offense.
Certainly knocks as GLX will fly at that one, but doesn't get a touch. Trying to keep pressure, but ultimately throwing themselves out. JFG, tough angle. Upa dedicates themselves as well. Potential attempt for a counter, but Humble Potato just cannot get past Son of Car. I'm Stuff will throw that down again, but starting to go away from those passing plays that I felt Canisius was using in the beginning, trying to hit the ball around the defenders, trying to hit it to a teammate. It seems like they're getting a little bit more vertical as they start to get more panicked. I think the moment they start getting stifled, I think they might start getting a little anxious. I'm curious to see what the comms atmosphere is on the side of Canisius, as they're doing fairly well right now, but it does feel like they are getting the brunt of the offensive pressure.
And I remember way back when I was playing Collegiate Rocket League, like when I was actually playing, and when we were in a bad spot, if we weren't playing well, things got eerily quiet. And that was always the hardest part, is getting back into it and trying your best to keep your team comms open and constant, because that's how you get back into this. Is JFG skirting around, and again, it's just everyone diving on the defense, just unable to make a touch.
It's a really brilliant touch here coming in from Upa. They bait in a player on the air dribble. They'll get her around, but then the next question comes, what do you do with the ball? Of course, you can try to dunk it, you can try to flick it again, but they opt for a very interesting touch, actually. I didn't expect it to roll, and clearly neither did the defender, but sometimes it's hard to play predictively when you're getting such clever touches like Upa is, and AFG, fortunately for them, is ready for that pass coming through, and I feel like that's really a common denominator that I'm seeing, is Marquette seems to be ready for these opportunities when a pass
Triple
comes
commit.
in.
Someone needs to be on top of that.
And they still can't get it to go. The triple commit. Not enough of a gap for Canisius, and another chance goes awry.
That is probably their best chance of scoring so far this game, all through the defenders. Marquette jumping to make that initial save, but then no follow-up. And by the time there was one, it was already too late. They were set back in to make a save as another dagger almost finds its way into the net.
I'm Stuff gets a dunk to the side. Son of Car looking it over. Humble Potato is going to try and clear this one. It'll just go off the corner in the middle. I'm Stuff, no contact. Humble Potato is going to have to gather that boost and take it around, but Upa reads the play all the way. And with 35 seconds remaining, Marquette still holding on to a somewhat unstable lead, but as I say that, it will come down to Son of Car for a second.
And things just falling away here for Canisius, but JFG, again, huge props for setting up that play as well. It's not easy to make that pass and just make the shot so easy for your teammate, though. Doing pretty much all of the work there.
And
with 30
right
seconds
now,
left, Taco.
Yeah, and just right now, it just doesn't seem like Canisius has it in the engine right now. They're getting so close. Even on that last goal, the read was fine. It's just the last jump out, they just didn't get the bumper that they wanted to or they intended to on that clear. And JFG's pass just bounces right down to Sunakar. And final 10 seconds, if they get a goal, it's still possible. But at the end of the day, they're fighting a very tough battle. That deflection not going to go. And that's going to sign the death warrant on this game. Marquette going through with a 3-0 victory. And Canisius, unfortunately, just not getting the finishes they need.
It is really unfortunate, and something that I did notice here in the waning moments of this game, and it kind of piqued my interest as well, is Canisius College's boost management. And unfortunately for them, I saw a lot of boost waste, and it was leading to them just being predictably slow against Marquette. They weren't getting to any 50-50 challenges immediately, and all of a sudden Marquette just had so much more control over the field. Now, if you're Canisius, it's an easy fix. Utilize your dodges when you don't need boosts all the time. I can understand the pressure to try to speed things up and just get into the play, but there was a lot of times where I'd see someone from Canisius grab the full boost and then all of a sudden just like dump it all into a turn. They'll turn around and as they're turning, it's just wasteful, unfortunate. But again, what's really important here for Canisius, at least, is that they can come back to this VOD, to these replays, to this stream, and they can recognize what they were doing wrong. It's not the end of the world, and a loss is a loss, and they have to accept that. But I think what's very imperative for them is to make sure they learn from these mistakes. And there were some very clear ones that I saw this match, but are very easy to fix.
Certainly so, and you always have to look for those silver linings, but fortunately, that loss still going to sting, but fortunately wins. You have a nice sweet aftertaste there, so we're going to be throwing you guys to a brief break as we will come back with the JFG from Marquette to pick their brain, see what went into that game performance. As it got a little dicey down the stretch, we'll see what the atmosphere was like within the Marquette camp. Don't go anywhere, we'll be right back with the interview to end off our night of EGF Rocket League. From Marquette over Canisius College. And fortunately so, we've been graced with the presence of JFG from Marquette. And so, JFG, how are you feeling after that nice 3-0 victory to close out our night here?
Feeling very good. Very confident for the next couple games.
Wow, JFG, again, congratulations on your win 3-0 sweep. I almost am copying my words from last interview where I would say 3-0 sweep feels pretty good. And GFG, I wanted to ask a question. Game 1 was a pretty solid 6-1 victory, of course. So things started to get pretty heated in Game 2, and I was curious what you were thinking of the opportunities that you're giving Canisius College in games, and really only game 2 where they scored 2 goals versus games 1 and 3. Was anything different going on with your defense, or I'm very curious to see how you felt about game 2.
I think it was one of those games where I felt like at any point in time we could have scored 6 or 7 goals, and we were, I guess, maybe losing focus a little bit too much. Like, you get the easy win game 1, and I think we just kind of clocked out a little bit, as oftentimes we do, and it's definitely something we need to work on. And then for game 3, we were able to focus up a bit more again and make sure that we got a more solid win.
I'm always interested in the way that teams deal with the meta of team cohesion, because I think there's obviously how fast you're playing and how well you're challenging your rotations, but it's very interesting to say that you take your foot off the gas, and in a way you're kind of, if you feel like you're better than team, you might play down a little bit in the latter games, and say that's something that you have to work on. Knowing that and being aware of that, do you find that it's interesting, or do you guys work on comms and specifically trying to keep yourself level-headed or in the game, and you're trying to like what do the comms atmosphere feel like after a game number 1? Like how do you mentally set yourself going into a game 2 or 3, or since you said you're trying to work on it, what are you trying to get to at that in your comms environment?
I think the big thing for us is knowing that we won game 1 with a big victory. I think the big thing is just focusing on the things that we did well in game 1 and realizing that it was only just game one. There's still two more games to be played, and just I think coming in with a fresh mindset, because I'm sure after a team takes a big loss, they're going to try and switch something up. So I think it's just coming into game two with hopefully a fresh mindset, having the score 0-0, series 0-0, and being ready to adapt again to what they're going to do.
I have a question, JFG.
Mhm.
Out of the remaining matches between Manhattan College, Georgetown, and Butler, which team are you most excited to face?
I would probably say Butler. 'Cause in my
Okay.
opinion, I think they're the best out of those teams. I'm not too sure on Manhattan College. I haven't seen much of them, but I think Butler would be a good game. And since we lost to them before, definitely want to beat them this time.
I see. I noticed. I'm looking at your first bout with Butler. It was a 3-1 loss. So again, perfect opportunity to extract revenge. I have another question for you. Going into game two with a lot of momentum, all of a sudden it felt like Canisius started to gain some steam. And then they were able to throw a lot of shots on your net. And I think from a defensive standpoint, your team played very well. Taco brought this up, and I thought it was a very great point, was that you did not have many shots of your own in terms of your overall team, but you were able to create more goal scoring opportunities. That and you're able to create better chances for your team. And now, is that more of your MO for how your squad operates? You're not just trying to pelt the net, you're trying to create uh, realistic opportunities.
Yeah, definitely. I think the thing that's worked out best for us this season has been quality over quantity. And it's just been a lot of us being very patient on defense, waiting for a small rotational mistake or someone to get a little bit too aggressive, and then hopefully following that up with just a really easy shot and a powerful shot on net.
Yeah, and the offensive
Awesome.
movement we were noting that you were getting, had 3 shots, I think, of 4 goals in game number 2, and then game number 3 was a lot more offensive pressure, but I think we also remarked that your opening goal there was a nice air dribble through and then just a pinch pass rolling around the backfield, and you were able to get onto it on the back post. But it's always one thing that I always laugh at is when you're playing against teams, it's almost like they're always covering each other. They're always fixing mistakes, even when it seems like a first player misses, you have a second player covering them as well. Are your comms really rapid fire calling out what your next intent is, or is it more just basic positioning, like getting back post? I focus on comms mainly because I find that it's a somewhat underutilized aspect of comms, and it seemed like you guys were covering each other incredibly well on their movement.
It was definitely a lot of very fast, rapid comms. Just a lot of, um, I think the one thing we've gotten very good at is knowing when we're beat to a ball or knowing when we're going to miss a ball. And being able to get that quick calm out that we're missing gives us such an advantage over the other team that doesn't know that yet. And sometimes I think actually our misses turn into our advantages because of that.
Tactical whiff. So it's a key aspect of high level play. Just sometimes whiffing a ball is just as good as touching the ball, so long as the rest of your team actually knows it's going to be a whiff.
Yeah.
Gotta outbrain your opponent. Uh, JFG, thank you so much. Taco, do you have any other remarks, questions for JFG?
No, I think it showed a lot of class down the stretch where you guys did recognize that you struggled a bit in games number 2 and 3 when you felt like you shouldn't. And it's good to see a team be aware of that. And I'm always a fan of teams that try to fix those mistakes, even if they don't seem like a problem, because we're still getting the win. You still get a sweep. But I love the competitive atmosphere of knowing that you should be playing hard every game. Don't take any steps off. And I wish you the best of luck the rest of your season.
Thank you.
All
Taco,
right.
what a first of all, what a great upstanding collegiate player, and
Mhm.
what a great series to end our night. This was fantastic.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Always a pleasure casting with you, Meet and Greek, and of course Juke on the production side. Always running a very smooth operation. So with that, that will actually close out our week here for EGF collegiate play. But we'll be right back with some more next week. Before you know it, you blink and you miss it, as well as all the other content in collegiate esports that we do bring you. So hopefully everyone has a very pleasant rest of your night and meet and greet and juke. Can't wait to work with you again.
Always a pleasure. Good night, everyone.